We're men, and we're not afraid to say that we love other men.
What up, G?
My life is nothing I thought it should be and everything I was worried it would become, because for 50 seconds I thought there was monsters on the world.
What Augean stable of misery do you live in if you fantasize about driving a bus or sitting on a bench? What's next, a breakfast eating simulator? Oh, careful not to burn your digital toast. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go play an office simulator. Oh, no wait, that's my job.
Whoa, I think I just figured something out, Beavis. What? This sucks. Yeah, it really sucks. This sucks more than anything that I've ever sucked before.
Don't say no for an answer. There's no
Can I see more white women getting clotheslined, please?
People don't understand. People don't understand. People like me. 'Cause these eyes can see right through you. Don't be surprised.
So Snoop Dogg wins the match because Shane McMahon blew his knee out.
Damn, that was bad, bro.
People don't understand. People don't understand. No, people don't understand. People don't understand. No, people don't understand. People don't understand. People like me.
You know, the best part about that intro is watching people audibly cringe when they start playing the Puddle of Mud theme cover of Nirvana. It's just absolutely just the chef's kiss every single time. But ladies and gentlemen, we are here for episode 87 here of the Barroom Podcast. And as you can see, it's a packed house. We have 3 people making their Barroom debut here tonight. So I'll go ahead and introduce everyone down the line. We have our good friend making her debut on the show, the Writing Raven. How are you doing today, Raven?
I am well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And then standing next to the Writing Raven is someone that she may know, Masters of TDS. You have been in the chat many, many times for our show, but this is the first time you've actually appeared on stream. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty solid. And then somehow right below me, right down over there, I don't know, you want me to call you Words of Paradise, Leon Idol? Which name would you prefer here tonight, Joe?
Oh, yeah, you can call me Leon. The channel is Words of Paradise. Yeah, you can call me Leon. I just want to say thanks for bringing me on. I've been watching you guys since I probably had 200-300 subs just because I was love Cass. Cassie, when she was on, she introduced me to you guys.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to finally be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And hey, this is such a big show. Even CJ decided to come back for one night only. How you doing next, CJ?
You're still paying me for this, right?
Pay? What are you talking about? And then joining us in Center Square here tonight, our good buddy Orange Hat's back with us. How you doing tonight, Orange?
Doing good.
And then, of course, to his right, definitely not last on purpose, Mr. Rob Model. How you doing there, Rob?
Get good.
It seems like you
I'm
have to
doing
think
fine.
about that one for a second.
Did you just fucking copy me?
No, I woke up to do this, so hey.
It's one of those days. I've been there. I've been there. Well, I can tell you this much. Half the people on this stream I've actually met in real life, so that's a shiny little plus there. And I guess we can go ahead and tell this story here. I met both Raven and TDS about a year and a half ago in Orlando, and he was in. It was very funny what you guys did. You guys had literally cutouts of your avatar going around like hiding your face. So I saw the avatar. I was like, I know that guy. I'm gonna walk up and say something to him. I walked up to you guys and I said, I know who you are. And the look on TDS's face was like, oh God, because he had no idea if I was like gonna hug him or like start swinging. He had no idea. Then I told him, oh no, it's a side interview. He's like, it's cool. Like I know you guys.
He was probably just afraid of being approached by a big black guy. To be fair, like
there was a lot going on there. That's what I could say. So.
I was actually more afraid that I was actually trying to figure out who you were, and I was like, okay. I try to keep tabs on everybody, and I'm like, okay. I know a couple people who look like him. Okay, let me think. Who is it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it this person? Is it this person? Is it? Okay, no, I don't know who it is. I'm just gonna take a guess.
I guess you did. You guessed right. You guessed correctly. That's what I will say here. And then
I think I remember I guessed wrong.
Really?
I'm pretty sure I guessed wrong, and then you had to explain to me to tell me who you were, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Don't be good because I did the exact same thing in the comics division where I met him in Vegas a couple of years ago. He actually approached me, and it was the first time I've actually seen him like in person. Because when he's on screen, it's like I'm thinking of okay, burly man with like tall like black hair, and I saw him. I was like, hey, how you doing? It's like, yeah, it's me. I was like, oh, hey, buddy, how you doing? It's like, I knew it. I just for some reason it threw me off seeing them in person. So,
well, I mean, we are pretty recognizable. Even without our avatars, because we look so much like them. And the person who drew them has never seen us in person.
Crazy. Yeah. They based it on
them off our old avatars, which are based on us. But no, we actually do dress like this in real life. So,
I'm about to say, you guys played it up just a little bit just to match the avatars, didn't you?
Well, I wear the hat most of the time, usually if it's a weekday or whatever, and I'm not like working or stuff, then maybe then that usually becomes something where I'll put on the hat. But usually I'm working, so I usually don't wear the hat during the week. But yeah, so I guess wearing the hat was kind of playing it up, but also it was kind of a vacation for us. So it was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna wear the hat because on the vacation I don't have to worry about working. So
I know it literally was a vacation. We were there for what, a week? Maybe. And
it was the last time we went on vacation.
I miss vacations.
I've said the same thing. I haven't been able to go to like any other meetups since then. And I know you guys have had like a couple, and it's like I know people are saying, "Oh, but Vegas is coming up, and then Dallas is coming up," and I'm just kind of like, "Yeah, that's great. I'm gonna try to make it out to one of these things one of these days. I just don't know if I'm gonna find the time just yet, but I'm hoping they can make it back out there for another one because it was fun the last few times that I went." But also, let's go ahead and introduce another straggler joining us. There's going to be a bunch of stragglers here. This is only one of many who will be joining us throughout the course of the show very, very late. Our good buddy Eddie Brock is joining us once again. Last Saturday night, me and Eddie Brock literally spent about 3.5 hours talking about pro wrestling during an MMA stream. It was probably one of the funniest streams that we've done in quite some time. So you guys can catch that out Saturday night.
One of the greatest times of my life. Not just because I was high on everything I could possibly find, but because it was a hell of a good show, and we had a hell of a fun time doing it.
Yep. Well, we got to mourn the loss of the 49ers. We got to talk about the good old days of wrestling and all the terrible things that go on behind the scenes. It was a good show all around there. So, yeah, I guess we can go ahead and introduce our guys in the chat because I know that some of our people have some questions for us here. So Neozoic joining us in say, howdy barroom crew and the folks in the discussion here. But fun question: which Power Rangers movie would you rather watch? The Mighty Morphin movie from '95 or the Power Rangers 2000? This is a serious question, Neo. Are you being serious right now? Let me just put it this way: who here would actually pick the 2017 version of Power Rangers? Who would actually do that to themselves?
No one.
No, I'm far more interested in the next question than this one. I'm gonna be real.
I like it, but I would rather watch the original.
Did they have a 2017?
They did.
The 2017.
Yeah, it was the one that was super dark and edgy and made each teenager some kind of stereotype.
They turned Goldar into like a
Vaughn, the guy
like they didn't do that to the other Power Rangers.
Was that the one Elizabeth Banks kept going to Krispy Kreme?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Or not Matthew Vaughn. Sorry, the guy that did Madam Web is the same guy that did the 2017 Power Rangers.
That explains a lot.
Clarkson,
Oh, wow.
S.J. Clarkson.
It must be nice
writer
to
or
be in
the
a career we
director?
can fail upward.
I believe it was the same writer, not the same director.
Okay.
Same writer.
Okay.
Okay, I'll have to look that. But yeah, they turned Goldar into like a giant like gold pot of sludge like for that film. It's like I don't know what anyone was thinking there. That was just an absolutely terrible effort all around. Then they have the audacity to like lead you into, oh guys, there may be a sequel like to this movie. Like no.
Remember when Dragon Ball Evolution did the same thing? Like they give you the post-credit scene that Piccolo's still alive. Like guys,
Like,
we're not.
No one
gonna see
cares.
Dragon
You
Ball
have-
Evolution.
The audacity to think that this film was gonna be good enough to warrant a second one.
Well, I mean,
Even
like you have to
Marsters
remember
fucking
too, like
bashed that movie.
there's some states that haven't legalized weed dispensers yet, so I'm sure.
It hasn't stopped anyone from smoking crack. I can
There's
tell
not
you that
enough
much.
weed in the world to freaking like Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh, man. But
Well,
bonus
Kevin
question.
Kevin Nash was in it, and I thought he was really good. Of course, he was really good in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the movie.
Kevin Nash was in Kevin Nash was in Dead or Alive. No one takes him seriously as an actor. Let's be very, very, very right. But,
Are you kidding me? He took that knife in The Punisher movie.
Dude, yeah. Nash fucking took real knives in the fucking Punisher.
Love you, Nash.
Like, oops.
Gotta give him credit for that because he stayed in character during the entire scene.
That's because he's a good worker.
Yeah, but I
Or
mean,
he's
when
a
you're
psychopath.
when you're a 7 foot, 300-pound giant, I mean, maybe knives don't hurt as much to like the normal human. So who knows? Bonus question here: which disappointed third film for iconic superheroes would you rather watch, and which one is worse, Spider-Man 3 or Dark Knight Rises?
Dude, this one's
Rises
easy. Dark
was
Knight Rises
tolerable.
sucks. Spider-Man
Tolerable.
3 is actually good, and you guys only hate it. Not you guys on the panel, but the internet only hates them because the internet tells you to hate it. Spider-Man 3 is completely fine. Watch it again. It holds up better than even the good MCU movies. I will defend that movie. I will die on that hill. Like, no, it's Batman. The Dark Knight 3 sucks. It's actually bad.
Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man.
But here's the thing:
Well,
it's
that's
hard
in
because
character, at least though that is like,
Right.
emo Peter Parker is in character from the comics. And everyone's like, "Oh, look how dumb and cringy this is." Well, it's at least comic accurate. You're not getting that from the MCU 9 times out of 10.
Right. Namor is not Latino. Was that?
I mean,
But
Yeah,
it's difficult because both films have the similar problem when they try to do too much in its finale. Like they tried to cram too many characters in here, and everything kind of fell apart. So, what were you gonna say, Rob? Rob, you there?
I gave him a heart attack saying Spider-Man 3 is good.
Rob,
Yeah.
speak.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi dropped out. Yeah, no, The Dark Knight Rises is superior pretty much in every way. I saw both in theaters. I personally don't really care about how comic accurate something is, just how good of a movie it is. And don't get me wrong, The Dark Knight Rises has problems. It's certainly nowhere close to being as good as the other two movies, but personally speaking, as a lifelong Batman fan, that ending was just, I thought, a great way to send the character off. Yeah, it's not perfect. It has its issues, but Spider-Man 3, I don't know if it's just the dancing. I don't know. I mean, maybe I need to revisit it. Maybe the Sandman portion was decent. I don't know. I'll have to go back there. But yeah, I like The Dark Knight Rises better.
Too Cold Scorpio.
For me,
Oh yeah.
When it comes to comic book movies, if they are basing it directly off of an actual comic book issue, I'll care about freaking accuracy, because most of the time, like when they started the MCU, they actually admitted this is a separate universe. They're not going to match up with the content or with the comics. But when it comes to these two movies, Dark Knight Rises, I find tolerable. It's not good, but it's better than Spider-Man 3 because I am a Venom fan, the character-wise. Venom isn't a fucking screecher like a goddamn Tasmanian devil. He is a freaking guttural growler. He's also meant to be more muscular and huge, not that freaking skinny Topher Grace thing that they put in the movie.
Time out. Are you telling me that
Thank
Venom
you.
wouldn't? You telling me that Venom wouldn't go to San Francisco and start singing karaoke with a bunch of rainbow people.
No,
in
I
San
didn't like
Francisco?
that movie.
Unusual to be loved by anyone.
I'm not talking about
What
that.
are you
Venom
talking
movie.
about?
That is a fucking abomination. But
You didn't see. You didn't see the second Venom movie, the Let There Be Carnage?
No.
Okay, then you have no idea what I'm talking. Yeah, there's a scene like literally 20 minutes into Venom 2 where Venom has like glow sticks around like his neck and he's singing karaoke with a very colorly diverse people in San Francisco, California.
But let's be serious. Okay?
That is incredibly weird.
Or his
Let's be
fucking gay
serious.
parade in California where he's feeding off of a bunch of freaking LGBTQ people because he can't find a good host.
Okay, listen. Just because the movie version of Eddie Brock will do that doesn't mean. Listen, just because we're both in San Francisco and love karaoke doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
I like karaoke.
Yeah, see, she loves karaoke.
Eddie, do you
know,
also
to
have?
add to that, Tom Hardy looks more like Eddie Brock, but Topher Grace actually acted more comic accurate to Eddie Brock. I'm gonna say it. Does he look the part? No, but in continuity, yeah, Topher Grace did a better job actually portraying the character than Tom Hardy's doing.
Frankly,
I
for what it's worth,
No.
I just want I want Rosemary Harris and Michael Caine to go out on like a date at some kind of crossover cafe, and they talk about their terrible lives. That's helping.
Is she still alive?
Superheroes.
I hope.
No.
I just have
This is the kind of stuff AI is born for. So.
I personally have a soft spot for Dark Knight Rises because my dad took us to see it in theaters, and I remember exactly which outfit I was
Not in
wearing
Colorado.
because my brother was complaining about because I pretty much started my goth phase. Technically, it's not a phase, but I was wearing like this glow in the dark spider web tank over my shirt, and my younger brother was like, "Is she seriously going to wear that to the theater?" And I tell him, "It's going to be dark. No one's going to see anyway." Oh, that was a good
Spiderweb
time.
stuff to Batman, though. I feel
Well,
like
I
you
didn't
wanted
have
the wrong
anything
movie.
bat themed. I didn't have anything bat themed at the time, so I went with the webs.
So let me get this straight. It was a movie featuring Catwoman, and you did not do Catwoman cosplay in all black for the Batman Returns.
Of course not. I'm Jewish. I can't wear tight spandex like that.
I love how people seem to forget that. Like, you were like, you haven't seen this movie, you haven't seen that movie. It's like, we're Orthodox Jewish. We literally grew up in like super strict Orthodox Jewish homes. Not that that's a problem, but we're lucky to have a television at all. So like, it's like, oh no, yes, we haven't seen this movie. Probably because we barely watched TV when we were younger. Like, it's not that crazy.
Literally, our parents regulated what shows we were allowed to watch. I had a classmate who, when I had like these birthday parties and I wanted to watch a movie with all my classmates, there's one particular classmate. I literally, with my parents, went out of my way to get a movie that her parents would approve. Literally, we were in touch with her parents so that they could approve the movie that was going to be shown at my birthday party.
That sounds.
We ended up watching Space Chimps.
Space
Oh
Chimps?
god.
Oof.
So at what point does it border on like child abuse when you have to watch Space Chimps? Because I would think that
borders on
I
child
enjoy.
abuse.
I mean, considering I was
Baby's Bad
maybe
Day.
10, I enjoyed it at the time.
Did you know? I mean, I assume if like the only film you were ever allowed to be exposed to was like Jingle All the Way, then you probably think that's a good movie too.
That's a Christmas movie. We're Jewish. We weren't going to be watching Christmas movies.
They weren't collecting Turbo Man.
Yeah.
movie.
Oh, what, you tell me that Jews don't have Turbo Man? Is like
What's that?
See? They do not understand what Turbo Man is.
Hold on. I could come up with a joke, but I'm not going to. Like a Jewish version of Turbo Man. I could come up with a version, but I'm not going to.
Yep.
Although it
would be
You gotta
Turbo
earn-
Man.
You got to earn your Jewish card. Okay. Keep it light.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, I got one that I'm saving later on for the show where I think it's gonna be funny. So I'm keeping my bullets in the chamber for tonight. But let's go ahead and finish up with the rest of the group here. We got Vanya joining us here tonight as well. Doba Fett saying easily Spider-Man 3, Dark Knight Rises is a solid film. The biggest issue is how to get Batman and having Bruce Wayne overcome his injuries twice in the same movie. Broken back, bro.
For what it is, everyone said that Dark Knight Rises is a great movie. It is, I'll admit, but that's just because it copied a lot of Rocky 3. I wish Thunder Lips was in Batman or Dark Knight Rises. Then it would have been, I would have picked it over Spider-Man 3.
Yep. Top Dog here says, "What's up, guys? Favorite wrestling game for the N64? WCW NWO Revenge. That's a pretty easy one for me. So
No Mercy.
Same thing. It's basically WWE's version of like WCW NWO Revenge.
I didn't play wrestling games on the N64. I played shooters and Mortal Kombat games.
Not even Star Fox 64.
So
I could
Well, I
trigger
also
so many
played Star
people
Fox,
right now with
obviously,
just
but-
2 sentences.
Just do it. Do it.
Say what now?
Wrestling is staged. Change my mind.
You know what?
yeah, no one's arguing it's not staged, but that doesn't mean it's any less cool.
No, hold on. I'm gonna use one of my new buttons for that answer, right?
Beat it. Wash your ass.
There you go. That was a great one. Who else do we have to go here? Tevin Daniels joining us here, saying he's a big fan of the Gothic therapy duo. So that's you two. That's you guys. Big fan. You guys in the chat going. Who else do we have here? Master of TDS, you'll also see here in the chat as well. Bad Take Bojan joining us here. How you doing, Tina? Who else do we got going on as well? It says as long as Rick waits an hour to show up, we have to maintain standard. Yeah, he's fashionably 30 minutes late, so he's still 7 minutes away from showing up and no one acknowledging his appearance there. Doafet saying that Spider-Man 3 sucked ass. Venom was tacked on and wasted. Yeah, like I said, I completely agree there. Dante joining us here in the chat too. I think he should be joining us here later on in the stream as well. So he says that, yeah, a lot of heads on tonight's show. We got DK saying that he hated Venom because everything Tom Hardy sounded to me was so embarrassing. Haven't seen it. Well, if you hated the first one, all I can tell you is that, oh yeah, go watch that second one, and yeah, you'll have a whole newfound hatred. Rosemary Harris is in fact alive, 6 years older than the 90-year-old Michael Caine. So,
yay! Congratulations.
Wrestling is very real. Tape Show had another ACL. That's one thing that I have noticed. Like, there's apparently a lot of people tearing their ACLs in wrestling right now, and it's like, are you guys all doing the same stupid moves you probably shouldn't be doing? That you're all tearing your like. How's everybody out for 9 months at a time? It's like if you happen in football, you have some
explanation. Planned. It's all planned. It's all rehearsed. Change my
It doesn't mean
mind.
it doesn't hurt though. Like I can rehearse.
There's injuries. I mean,
6 foot ring as much as I want to rehearse it. It'll still hurt.
Well, no. You see, they probably do it like this. They go, okay, how much will the hospital bills cost if I stage this injury? Okay, so then I want to get paid this much so that I can get this injury and still make something off of it.
But at least you're acknowledging the injury is real.
I
It's
really
just,
wish.
Again,
I wish
absolutely
wrestling-
scripted, 100%. Like no one's going to deny wrestling isn't scripted, but damn, some of that stuff's still real in terms of it's painful.
I wish wrestling was like
Yeah.
Hollywood and all these other things. So we could really believe that people are still making money on the side. After 3 weeks, you're making a hot dog and a Coke. So that's a real ACL injury.
I'm gonna go ahead and just play this clip right now. I dare Raven to tell me that this right here is fake. What's fake about this spot right here from Cody Rhodes, who unironically somehow managed to weasel his way into WrestleMania?
Why did someone light a table on fire?
Oh, it gets worse.
Because it's
hold on. Are you a rotator society?
Yes.
Oh, motherfucker,
Yes.
we're gonna go at it tonight, son.
Oh, yeah.
Not ride or die.
I'm a long-time Smarkbuster, so obviously I would go with the fuck Cody Rhodes crowd. Hopefully there's like a 9-minute outro of just them saying fuck Cody Rhodes. But here's how real wrestling can be, especially when you don't know what you're doing.
My God! Oh man, flame the table! Flame the table! Good God! He rounds the reverse DDT. He's on fire! He's on fire! He covers! He's on fire! 1, 2, 3!
Yeah. Somehow he set up another guy to go through a table. He went through the table himself and then pinned the other guy to win while he was on fire. It's like, that's how real wrestling is.
I would just say that that's a mishap on stage. Like during any performance, I've had mistakes done on stage. And so you just improvise and then you go back into the choreography.
But everyone believes, like when you're doing a stage thing, as an actor and a thespian and a wrestler and trying halfway to
And
be
a lesbian, yeah,
and trying halfway to be a lesbian.
Yeah, we got that.
Seriously, no. That I didn't see any fear in faces. I didn't see anything in body language that would say, "Oh my God, I'm about to be set on fire."
No,
I
just
didn't see any of that.
I'm about to be
reacting
set
to
on
the
fire.
fire.
I am right. I'm not about to be set
I
on
didn't
fire.
see any of
I have
that.
been set on
Sorry,
fire.
I'm not convinced. My mind has not been changed.
Okay.
You're gonna have to do much
Cassie.
better than that to change my mind, good sir.
Cassie just says just improvise and burn.
Honey,
Right.
I want to make something clear. I think they're somewhat being sarcastic. See, I love Raven. There's one little issue is that she doesn't recognize sarcasm sometimes. So I'm here to help her.
Volume control.
I'm right
That's a
there
different
with her. I don't always recognize it either.
The volume control thing's a woman.
Yeah, we know.
All right, then. Well, let's
No
go ahead.
offense to that.
Well, let's go over here and start off with this story. Who loves some news talking about how bad Disney is? I think we could all love talking about just the absolute clusterfuck that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And apparently, Disney is preparing to delay Blade, a movie that they announced back in 2019 for the fourth time, which means that this film could quite possibly get pushed back now to 2026 at this point. And this is because they just announced the official casting for the Fantastic Four. Now, this movie hasn't actually been shot yet. They're still well within the pre-production stages of that film, but it is scheduled to come out in the summer, next summer, essentially. And I guess somebody at Disney figured out, oh, wait a minute, this film is going to get released 2 weeks before James Gunn's new Superman movie comes out for DC. So it's like, oh, if we sink a whole bunch of money into this Fantastic Four, which we paid, what, $70 billion for Fox to attain the rights for the Fantastic Four, and we get crushed in 2 weeks due to a James Gunn movie, that's not going to do well for us. So, hey, we have Blade coming out in November, so let's push Blade back and give Fantastic Four the November slot in order to essentially curtail any kind of future box office bomb that could happen. Like, who would have thought in 2020, what is it, 2025, when this film comes out, that Marvel will be running away from a DC movie? Yet here we are.
About to say, like run the clock back to 2013 or whenever it was Man of Steel came out. Marvel would have looked at that and said, like, oh, DC's releasing a movie? Ha ha, we don't care. We're going to release Guardians of the Galaxy 2 anyway, or insert movie here. Like, there is absolutely no, to go back in time and just imagine, just to tell your younger self, at one point, Disney's going to be afraid of releasing against a competing DC movie. You would want to slap yourself and think that you're retarded, but no, this is where we're at, and you love to see it.
Yep. So here we are. This is a film that was supposed to come. Actually, this film was supposed to be out already. Like, this film was supposed to release sometime last year. Initially, that's when it was slated, and it's been pushed back twice already. And then we've heard the reasons why it's been pushed back is because what's this guy's name? I keep butchering it.
Mahershala Ali. He is a perfect cast for Blade. I would love to see this movie if it was done by someone that's not Disney, because Mahershala Ali is a great actor.
I will say he was a good cast for Lee, because by the time this film comes out, he's probably going to be about 53 years old, which means that he's going to already be aged out of the role before it's even come out in theaters. But there's a lot of talk behind the scenes that, you know, this film is a mess. It's already gone through 6 screenwriters, 2 directors, and at least 2 to maybe 3 producers already, and it's still nowhere near being released anywhere near to a point where it can be released in theaters. This film is doing terribly right now. There was rumors saying that, you know, they were going to make him essentially the 4th lead in his own movie, and it was going to focus more on his daughter, that he was only there to pass the mantle of Blade to his daughter, and that's obviously people didn't like that. And then here you got a guy who's an Oscar.
Didn't like that either. He fought again. If the rumors were believed, even he's like, no, if you're bringing me on to do a Blade movie, I'm going to be Blade. Like, so many of the reshoots and rewrites were because he threatened to walk if the movie was not about him as Blade, and there were people calling him a diva and a prima donna. I'm like, no, if you're signed on to play Blade and you're the first person to take up the mantle after Wesley Snipes like 25 years ago, I would also expect the movie to be about me and would throw a fit if it wasn't.
Not only that, but this guy's an actual Oscar-winning like actor. He's not like some Joe Schmo they pulled out of like the pool here. Like, this guy has somewhat credibility here, and you're already screwing this up with a guy who has the pull to just say, you know what, screw it, I'll just be out of here. But what were you gonna say, Raven?
They should just can it completely, like Batgirl, or give it to me. I will do a much better job. I will be the last screenwriter they will ever need.
Honey, we both know, first off, that we're currently in Epicverse, so that doesn't really work. And second, even if they were to reach out to you, they're beyond help at this point.
True, but I could still do a much better job.
Yes, but as I said, they're beyond top. It wouldn't matter if they backtracked from this point. If they decided that they were suddenly going to completely pivot and try to fix things, I really don't think they even have the ability to do that at this point. I think it's way
I'm
too
just
far
saying that
gone.
I have better credentials than any of these people. Just ask the Epicverse boss, Josiah.
Well, I mean that's not saying much. I mean, a monkey smashing symbols into a rock would have more credentials than the people writing this stuff. 6 screenwriters? Are you kidding me? 6 people wrote this, and nobody can put.
That's because the 6 people they've had so far had to have absolutely no talent or skill.
No.
I have both.
Wait.
Give it to me.
No. Chances are,
all of these.
Chances are, these 6 people were told specifically not to read the comics because we can't have them do that. And then they were like, okay, you have absolutely no knowledge of comics. Okay, have you ever written or know anything about vampires? No, you have no knowledge of that either. Okay, good. You're qualifying so far. And what are your politics? Okay, good. Okay, you're hired.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. But why would you hire someone who knows nothing about vampires, even the half-breed daywalkers?
So they can make it up.
Why are the people who know nothing about these things and have no love for these things always being put in charge of these things? I will never understand it.
Well, I understand it. It's very, very simple, actually. They're stupid. It's very simple. It's almost so simple. It's too simple to even think that that's the answer. That's probably the answer. These people are just dumb, and this is what it comes down to.
I'm going to correct you. They're not just stupid. They're objectively stupid.
Objectively.
So, some would say they were borderline retardation.
That would just be genetic, though.
I don't know. Just kind of jumping in here real quick.
Hi, Rick.
By the way, hi, Rick.
Hello, everybody. I think,
and now here's Rick.
I think it's the idea that they can, quote, improve on the topic or on the characters. They can make it better. They can put in their own unique spin on it. Just jumping in here, just trying to figure out what's going on. But that's my theory as to why people who dislike something are put in charge of it. Because they can do better. They can do it better. And they can improve on whatever the subject is. That's my theory.
They can't.
Well, yeah,
it's technically, I don't think it's possible with Disney, but I would say that is technically possible. Like most people say that, for example, Fight Club as a movie is better than the book. Now, I disagree. I think the book is better, but I'm in the minority. The vast majority of people say the movie is better than the book. There are instances where you actually can improve on what was done. Let's be real. I don't know how many of you guys read comics in the 90s. I did. I love them. I'm nostalgic for them. But comics in the 90s kind of sucked in a lot of instances. So I can see why many changes were made. That being said, just because changes are made does not mean they're better or worse. It just means they're different. So there is a possibility that things can be improved upon, but not with the current writing that is going on in Hollywood. And that's the difference. It's not can something be improved. It's can these individuals improve it.
Well, let me jump in on Orange real quick, and then I'll let you go.
All right. Well, the thing is, Raven and TDS are actually right when it comes to hiring somebody that has no knowledge of of the source material, because that is their actual hiring policy. They're saying we don't want people who knows the source material, because then they're going to have an inherent bias. And also the toxic fans are the ones that are constantly bickering about, oh, you're not following source material. Well, that's because it's actually full of shit.
That's true. Like, I know it's fun to bash on Disney because we all do it, and frankly, we all make money doing it. It's awesome. But Sam Raimi is a famous comic book fan. Like, Sam Raimi is a comic fanatic and was growing up, and he was tapped to do Doctor Strange. Like, I don't know that Disney puts in their requirements, don't read the source material. I think they just hire arrogant, cocky individuals who decide for themselves not to read the source material.
It's not really, except that it's this shit's been reported on by insiders and other people too. That they
also have
policy is literally,
vaccine was
we don't want you knowing
really
anything about this shit.
It's not accurate.
And
we also have to make one.
Stand when they do that. It hurts my writer's integrity when they openly admit that they don't know what they're doing. Like on She-Hulk, when they openly said that they had no idea how to write court scenes. Why? Why would you admit that? Why not hire a ghostwriter or a law consultant or anything else that would make you seem even the least bit competent? Physically,
don't take me defending Disney. Because I agree with you. Like when they come out and they say this and they admit it and whatnot, that's 100%. I agree with that. For them to say that's ridiculous. I'm just saying that when we see reports that Disney says, "Hey, we are actively hiring people and telling them don't read the source material," I can't verify that for myself. Like I said, we also saw reports that said the Pfizer vaccine was 90% accurate. Those reports weren't accurate. All I'm saying is, until I know for sure that Disney actually says that, I'm going to assume, no, these writers are just cocky, overconfident assholes that think they can do better. It's not actually part of Disney's hiring code.
Well, I want to point out something that Sammy Raimi said.
Didn't you guys publish some of the articles that said that?
Who, me? Yeah.
But
no, I was going to make a point.
Report on that.
Yeah, but I was trying to make the point on the Sam Raimi thing. We also have to keep in mind that the reason why Sam Raimi was even involved in Doctor Strange 2 to begin with was because Marvel chased off the original two screenwriters, which were C. Robert Cargill and Scott Derrickson, who were supposed to be the ones doing that movie at first, and then they had conflicts with the studio who didn't want them to go all in on making an MCU horror film, so they left that project, and that's why Sam Raimi came in to essentially finish off what they had started with that film to begin with. So.
And Marvel doesn't want.
That's true. I'm
want
just saying that does throw a wrench in the theory that Marvel actively goes out of the way to avoid hiring people who are familiar with the source material, because Sam Raimi is famous for being a comic book nerd. So I'm just saying, like, where is that middle ground of, is this on the books for Disney or not? Like, I if that's true, I'm down to believe it, but I would just need to see evidence that is true. Otherwise, I think it's easier to blame. Or it makes more sense to blame the individuals and our current society than it is some figment of what we think goes on behind corporate scenes.
Well, I think it also depends on whom you get from an outsider. I've mentioned this before, where when they created the original Superman, they hired Mario Puzo to write the screenplay or come up with story ideas. He actually went to the source material and looked at it, even though he didn't grow up with it and didn't know it, and he saw it as a great tragedy, is how he described it. Superman's origins and coming to Earth. So, but then again, you're hiring Mario Puzo to write or help write the screenplay with the new people that are coming in to write all of these other Marvel TV shows and movies. What exactly are their credits or their experience in writing? Not just for Marvel or DC projects, but in general.
They wrote one episode of Rick and Morty, so they're qualified.
Well, I remember that it was being discussed that Nick Pizzolatto was coming in, the guy who's responsible for True Detective season 1. I don't know if that ever came to pass, but that actually got me excited, and I've because I've been a part of the show here for the last year and a half or so, it's like I've seen how terrible that project is, the Blade project, where they just keep running through writers, they keep running through creative people. When's it going to end? And I just saw Sam Raimi's Darkman over the weekend. So I mean, I don't think Marvel was really interested in his specific creative vision, but like Sam Raimi has this track record of you're right, being a comic book lover and applying that to his own work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to go back to Eddie here real quick, because Eddie was going to bring something up here too.
I just wanted to say that most of the writers seem to have the credentials of getting at least 5 stars on fanfiction.net for most of their writing. It's terrible. It's all self-insert garbage. I honestly think that's their credential, is that they wrote a whole bunch of fan fictions, a whole bunch of slash fics someplace, and somebody famous read one, found it funny, and they decided to bring them over to a party, and they smoothed their way into a job, like most what happens in Hollywood.
As a writer of fan fiction, that also hurts me.
Right. There are people out there that can write good fan fiction, and they don't get fucking picked.
I am one of them.
Right. It's these dummies who decide to put, Draco Malfoy and, Harry Potter.
I hate shippers. I don't put any romance in when I write a fan fiction. I just write continuations of the story itself. Right. And I also make sure to adhere. You would not believe how much research I do when I actually do write a fan fiction, and how much effort I put in to stick to the lore and make sure it works in universe.
As Kate says right here, for that very reason is why you won't get hired for an MCU project, because you know too much.
But
Like,
it is why I got hired by
here's-
Avengers.
okay,
Why not just lie? Like, if Disney does have it on the record saying, if they've got on the book saying, hey, we're not hiring people to know the source material, to me, it makes sense to go and be like, hey, yep, I know nothing about the source material. I'm going to do my own thing. They'd be like, great, you're hired. And then secretly be like, ha ha, I actually do know the source material. Like, it would be.
Well, no, I mean, they're like trying to cater to something, because what's her name? I don't know if we're going to talk about this later, but Sweeney, what's her?
Sydney Sweeney.
She decided she actually got over. She got over with me. She became my MC waifu. She got over with me when she said that she read the comic book and she liked all the acrobatics and all the ballerina moves that Spider-Woman was doing in the books.
Julia,
so she actually went. She actually went out of her way to like study it and figure out how this. And she said she wants to put that into the movie. I don't know if it's in the movie. I haven't seen the movie.
It's
but
not.
She said,
One scene. Got one scene.
It's not.
But she said herself, like she wanted, and I guess there's plenty of video of it. She herself has plenty of video and pictures of her hanging upside down like Spider-Woman, because she's a fan of Spider-Woman, and she wanted to bring that into however
there's
good into the movie.
You know, like a good.
There's more footage of her dancing on the table than there is of her.
I'm
in her
sure there
costume.
is. No, I and see that, and there it is. There is where the directors or the writers or whoever, the producers, they're the ones who don't care about the comics. They're the ones who don't care about the lore. They're the ones who aren't worried about that. They're worried about putting this over as another Disney venture or another Marvel venture or a whatever venture, because the lore doesn't matter. You can create the lore as you go along. Now, to this point, okay, now we're going to remember what it was back in the day. I was rereading the Addams Family screenplay, right? And you could tell that the original, right? The 91. And
not the 60s TV show and not the 1930s comic strips.
No, the 1991 film screenplay by Caroline Thompson and David Dunn.
That was a good movie.
So this is verbatim. I have it right in front of me. This is verbatim what's written in the script to show you that those people, even if they were taking something that was from the 30s and from the 60s, and they had to change it to make it more modern, and they had to change it to make it more, acceptable for our standards and our things of how the 1990s were and everything. This is verbatim. The famous scene where Morticia and Gomez wake each other up, right? Morticia says, of course, last night you were unhinged. You were like some desperate howling demon. You frightened me. Do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Gomez quickly moves to her bedside. And here's the writer's note in a nice thick paragraph. Writer's note. This is Caroline Thompson. This woman will fight you for canon status. We should get the sense, as much as humanly possible, that all this couple does is fuck each other. Their only want on this earth is to fuck, and they do. I understand that this is intended to be a kid's movie, but I cannot stress enough the importance of these two constantly teeming with frankly demonic levels of horniness for each other. If we cannot agree on this, I walk. But you should know I already spent the money. Thank you, Caroline Thompson, for keeping the lore alive.
That's not overt. That's
actually very good, because if anyone actually has seen the 1960s Addams Family, Gomez and Morticia were the very first on-screen couple to actually touch each other and actually imply that they had a sex life.
Wow.
The first in TV history.
Yes, every time you spoke French,
so displaying their passion for each other is extremely accurate. So well done to that woman.
See, and the part I like the most is we know that this is a kid's movie, meaning we know we're showing this to children, but that doesn't matter because there's things that are more instinctively in the lore than there is for children to absorb as well as adults. So
Charles Addams would be proud.
Showing that the lore can still live on if you try really, really hard enough with Sydney Sweeney or with this Caroline Thompson or with whomever, you can keep the lore alive, but it's only the people that are in charge that seem to be the ones that need to put the kibosh on all of this stuff that we actually want.
No,
I will say this.
In charge will actually.
Thank you for my TED Talk.
I will say that there is another point I want to make about Madam Web because we have brought it up here, but I just want to kind of wrap up the Blade part of this. Any final thoughts on essentially Blade being delayed again? And does anyone actually think this movie is ever going to see the light of day? I'll start with Rob.
I think there's a good chance it won't, just because it's run into so many issues. I mean, Hollywood is famous for things being in production hell. Generally, they're not Marvel productions, though. So I find it kind of hilarious that they are the model of financial success, really, for the last almost 20 years. And the last 5 years or so, they've been a complete dumpster fire. So, I mean, obviously, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, what they think, but yeah, I think it's very possible it does not see the light of day.
Anyone else?
I think it's gonna see the light of day. Just, I mean, Captain Marvel also got delayed the Marvels, I mean, got delayed 4 or 5 times, and then eventually did come out. So this is going to come out as well, especially if the rumors are true about crackdowns legally about shelving movies for tax break purposes and whatnot, like we saw with Acme, Coyote versus Acme. So it will come out. It's not going to come out to any fanfare. It's not going to come out to box office profits or anything, but it will technically come out. And I honestly, Rob, Marvel's been dead for more than 5 years, in my opinion. If they had asked me, I don't think they've had a good movie since, and good is, I'm just stretching the term good here, since Infinity War. There's not been a single good product since Infinity War. I mean, I fucking hated Endgame when it came out, well before any of the Marvel is so woke now crap. It was just
my last voluntary Marvel movie was Age of Ultron. So technically it was before that. To be fair, I'm getting older and losing track of what years mean. So
I mean, halfway through phase 2, in my opinion, Marvel was like, okay, this is not shaping up to go
I'll split the difference and say it will see the light of day on Disney Plus.
Well, let me just ask this question real quick, and Raven, you're allowed to lie. We'll give you a lie here, but who in this room
is Triple H going to be in the next one?
God, please stop. Who in this room is actually under the age of 30 right now? Raise your hand.
Me.
I turned 30 this year, but technically me as well. I'm 30 in a couple months, so.
Master turned 30 last month. I am currently 28.
Okay, then. Well, I did say you can lie for 1 point, so that's cool.
I didn't lie. That's not a lie.
It's satire, honey.
We know.
I know.
It's like, let the record know that I am 28 and a half, damn it. But no, so the point that I'm making...
Let the 8th commandment know.
The half won't come until June.
But no, the point that I'm making here is like, we're all at this point now where it's like you're expecting a bunch of 30-year-olds to be excited about a project that probably won't actually see the light of day for like another several years. Like, we're getting to that point now where Marvel's going to start announcing things. They'll be like, oh yeah, great, I'm gonna be 40 when that comes out. It's like, how much excitement do you truly expect me to have to this versus what I probably would have had 10 years ago? It's like, at some point they have to realize that, hey, this whole thing is not going to keep sustaining itself the way that they think it's going to do. We're going to have to pull the plug on it somehow, but they're still going to go on. No, we got a phase 7 coming out, and just wait till we got coming out in 2032. And it's just like, oh God.
That is exactly why Disney and Marvel are going after 15-year-olds for free Palestine and pronouns in their bios. It's not for us. It's for them.
Well,
how much you want that Fantastic Four is going to be like, we take the side of Hamas? Like,
please God, no.
Well, you guys should have been here.
This got political quick.
No, I was going to say, I don't know if this is relevant to anything.
This is a Marvel movie.
I think Spider-Man, Tom Holland, I think he was 12 years old when the first Iron Man movie came out. So it's been going throughout his entire lifetime.
Jeez.
Actually, he was around the same. Well, no, yeah, you're right.
1996. It was born in 1996, and Iron Man came out in 2008. So
Tom Holland is a year younger than me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Honestly, this movie, we'll see. They're gonna finish it, but it's gonna take them a while to do it. Chances are there's gonna be a 5th freaking delay, because as long as Mahershala Ali has integrity and is basically telling them, I'm going to be the lead, and you're not going to make some stupid shit about pushing me off, I didn't come on here to just do one fucking movie. So chances are him having integrity is what's going to hurt the chances of the movie coming out in any sort of shape of time. But honestly, we already have a Blade movie that works. We even have a second Blade movie that works. Blade 1 and Blade 2, as bad as Blade 2 is because of the CGI, honestly, I think those two movies are better than anything that the MCU has produced.
Yeah. For the love of God,
Oh,
don't
we-
put
we-
Triple H in another movie.
Yeah, we are getting older, and we are looking for more mature themed type of superhero movies. I think, if
Yeah.
nothing else, like if we're still
And that's why
okay
I'm
with
writing
them.
my...
So
Neo, you gotta start giving us some divisive questions, bud. I don't think there's a single person on this panel that's gonna see, like, assume an MCU movie is gonna make money at this point.
No, that's only if that one ever comes out. That's the real question. But real
yeah, I
quick,
don't think it'll make money, but I think it'll come out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Dude,
gonna
you
go
think
ahead and
it'll
jump.
be a bomb, dude. It'll be a miracle if it makes even $1 in profit. These delays.
This is something
actually
that's like I
cost
feel like they're
money
gonna try to
against
get
it.
Robert Pattinson to like do a cameo. As the vampire.
But
That I would show up- That I would show up for just to yell in the theater about how much Twilight sucks.
Well, I mean, like he'd show up and he'd
We're getting a
sparkle
TV
and then,
show,
like,
don't forget.
stab him.
Oh yeah,
So-
that's happening. There's going to
you
be a
don't need-
Twilight TV show.
I hate
Twilight
this-
is
I
an
hate this
abomination
multiverse.
that should not exist.
You don't.
You know
need
what though?
to have-
It will age better than the Marvels.
You don't need to have. You don't need to have Robert Pattinson come out. You already have Harry Styles in what is it, Eternals 2. So that should be enough for all of you.
No, absolutely not.
His generation, Gene Kelly will pop up again. So there you go.
Well, let's jump over to this other story because Madam Web, the Hollywood Reporter, had to do damage control specifically for Dakota Johnson, which makes me think that somebody in her PR camp got to Dakota Johnson and it's like, you need to snuff this out because people were starting to come to the conclusion based on things that she has said over the last few months that she secretly hates this movie and wants absolutely nothing to do with it. And they had to essentially do damage control to be like, no, Sony, she totally doesn't hate this film. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Hates her cast members.
Yeah, well, like I said, we'll get to that here, but Dakota Johnson, what did she actually say? And here's the sub-headline. The Madam Web press tour has become entangled of conspiracy theories and misconstrued quotes to create a narrative that Johnson hated her own movie. So, in other words, people are noticing patterns, and it's bad to notice patterns. Don't do that. So, what are they talking about here? If you've been paying attention to things that she has specifically said over the course of the last few months, there's a lot to go with here to lead to people to an understanding that perhaps she hates this movie, perhaps she wants absolutely nothing to do with this. How did this all start? Well, it started off when she recently came out in an interview and said that the film that came out in theaters, the one that everyone hates, was not the same film that she signed up for. She basically said that I signed up for this movie, and then by the time we shot the film, the script changed, and this was not simply the film that I signed up for, saying that, hey, look, I had nothing to do with it. She kind of like put her hands up and say, hey, don't blame me for this, blame them, right? That's one instance. Then she did another interview where she admitted that she has not seen the movie. Now you would go, well, wait a second. She was on the red carpet premiere for the film a couple of weeks ago. How did she not see this film? Well, she admitted that she snuck out of the theater and went to go eat lunch somewhere. She has not seen this movie, nor does she has any plans of actually watching this film in the future. Now I'm going to bring up that clip here in just a second, but just to continue here, this isn't the only thing she said. She's talked about her co-stars obviously being a lot younger than she is, because I think their co-stars are like 20 to like 25 years old. Obviously she's a little bit younger, so she was talking about how her co-stars could be annoying, kind of like in a joking way, but people obviously didn't read into that as well. But the big one that a lot of people that raised a lot of red flags was that when the trailer came out a couple of months ago, 2 days after the trailer released, and it got pretty much dogged out in the reviews, when the reaction of the trailer came out and people dogged it out, she fired her agency and went to join another agency 2 days after that happened. And that was considered a major red flag for a lot of people in the industry, because it's like, why would you literally like quit your production or just like quit your management team? Why would you go find another agency in the middle of one of the biggest films of your career coming out, if you didn't know that there was something going on here behind the scenes. I think this is the clip here where people were talking about this. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of warn you guys here, because there may be another thing going on here with this story. I don't know if you've actually heard Dakota Johnson talk. She doesn't sound like the brightest bulb in the picture here, but this is exactly what she said about Madam Web
I
here.
haven't actually seen the movie.
Haven't you? When you go to a premiere, do you sit there or do you go out the back door and go to a nice restaurant?
I'll go to have dinner.
I know. Love your honesty.
Yeah, I probably won't. I don't know when I'll see it. Someday.
But have you watched your other movies?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't like to.
She had to watch 50 Shades with her mom once.
Actors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever taken advice from them, or is it a way to keep grounded? Is it a way to not see yourself on the big screen and to not believe the hype?
Oh, for me, it's a way to not have like an existential crisis.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's not watching my movies is like self-care.
Okay.
So that's one interview. Here's a second interview that she did about a week ago. Now, this was a reporter asking her about the viral moment in the trailer where she said like a really bad line of dialogue. You could tell that she's like visually confused by the question itself. This is actually unironically very hilarious if you play it in context here, but this is what she said regarding that whole clip.
A line from the trailer that went sort of viral. Do you remember that?
What was
at all? It was the line that says, "He was in the Amazon with my mum when she was researching spiders right before she died." Do you remember that going viral?
Why did that go viral?
I think it went viral because out of context, people were just like, "What does this mean?" Did you catch that at all?
No. Somebody brought this up and I have no idea what it's about.
There were lots of memes because I think people were like, "What is?" Just out of the context of it, it was just a very.
But isn't any
Keep it away. He's trying to find a very nice way of saying people were shitting on it because it was a terrible line. What do you think about this? And she's trying to like tiptoeing around. It's like, why would this be going viral? Because it sucked and everyone was ripping it apart. But she's doing press for the movies that she's trying to get everyone here to see here. So she's obviously in the mind, but I'll keep playing the clip here.
any sentence out of context?
Yeah, very true.
What a silly thing.
There was just lots of bits that were like, "Oh, that and that and that." Do you know what I mean?
He was in the Amazon researching spiders with my mom before she died.
Yeah.
That seems like a basic storyline to me.
Fair enough.
But maybe I'm just underneath it.
No, that's fair.
So as this whole situation has boiled up here, there's now two prevailing narratives. One, she secretly hates this movie, or two, she doesn't secretly hate this movie, but she's just not a very bright actress to begin with. So she comes off as if she hates the movie when she truly doesn't. I don't think either one is very good for the context of the film. This movie came out this week. It did worse than Morbius, a film that literally was released twice and bombed twice at the box office. So this is how bad this film is doing. So I'll shoot this over here to the Gothic therapy here, Raven and TDS. What is your thoughts on the whole situation here with Dakota Johnson and Madam Web? Like, what do you guys think based on those clips that we just played there?
I mean, you go first.
I was going to say that we talked about this in our last video on Sunday as well. And well, there is some potential evidence that, Dakota Johnson also was thought that potentially this was going to be kind of an MCU film and maybe not actually a Sony film. There is some evidence to support that. We really just don't know. So we can speculate as much as we want. Honestly, I think that pretty much everybody involved in it after the reaction to the trailer, I mean, that reaction to the trailer was pretty universally negative, and it would be very, very hard for someone to just completely miss every single element of that. So my thoughts are whether or not she's, not as smart or whatever, I don't think that's the point. I think that all of them after the trailer reaction, after everybody, they all knew that it wasn't going to do well. And so I just think at that point, it was kind of just fake it till you make it. And that's my opinion of it. I mean, I don't know if there's more to it than what we are aware of. There probably is. There always is with these kinds of movies. But I mean, literally, there was not a single person online who was like, wow, this trailer looks amazing. I'm so hyped for this. Everybody was like, what is this crap? It looks like CW. Like nobody was praising it. So if you're going to tell me that they all lived under a rock and none of them saw this and she had no clue, I just don't buy it. I'm sorry. You could pretend, you could say, okay, she's not as intelligent, she doesn't get certain things, maybe, but it was pretty blatant, and you'd have to like really go out of your way not to know about it. So I just think there's a certain amount of, I guess, acting going on here. That's just my opinion.
I can't get behind the idea that she's that dumb, because if she's that dumb, then I have to admit that Henry Cavill is even dumber, because she at least fired her producers or her production company, as opposed to Henry Cavill is still with the same people after Argyle, to my knowledge. So I can't believe Henry's that retarded.
But Henry Cavill is also executive producing Warhammer, so
Is that Netflix, by the way?
Amazon, actually. And I am looking forward to it. The whole reason I got into Warhammer 40K was because of that announcement. I have no regrets.
I do.
Yeah, I actually am enjoying
Thankfully, a girl in
these press interviews. You know, they're still kind of going around Twitter right now. I really enjoyed the one where she tried naming the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, all three, and that's really, like, I'm sorry, that's still fucking funny to me. I mean, I don't think Dakota Johnson is that bright. She's the granddaughter of Tippi Hedren, the daughter of Don Johnson, and I really
Melanie
am fumbling
Griffith.
this. Thank you so much. I'm gonna fumble this right now. So I think she's kind of an entitled, spoiled, third-rate celebrity in terms of like what her talent and what her skill set is. I also personally have a crush on her, which is weird. I can't really explain other than the 2018 version of Suspiria, where literally that movie is about her and Mia Goth like starting a witch coven. So, you know, I don't think that'll win over anybody here, but I just loved watching her.
Rob is cool, dude. Dumb girls are cool, but at Thanksgiving you don't want them next to you. Like that's the simple thing. Like
I got into Frows or whatever her name is because of The Craft. So
yeah, her gyrations on the floor were great. Anyway, my point is that, like, yeah, I don't think she's smart, but I also think at a certain point she was like, this movie fucking sucks and I've got to do something. And so she has this kind of weird, like, above it all cool girl personality where she's just like, yeah, none of this is my fault, and I'm just gonna try to not pick terrible projects in the future. But yeah, I don't think she's super talented. Obviously, the script was terrible, did her no favors, but it does seem like the project was something else than what ended up being produced.
Yeah, we can all agree with that one, Cassie.
Yeah. No arguments in this corner.
Orange, what do you think about this whole situation with Dakota Johnson? Like, what's kind of your read on this?
I mean, considering she slammed Hollywood like a week or two ago, it doesn't really surprise me. I mean, yeah, she may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but this woman has also proven that she's kind of sick of and tired of Hollywood, because she's calling out Hollywood for being fucking bleak. That's direct quote from her. And yet her not wanting to see her own movies, I mean, that's her choice. She can go to a premiere, sneak out the back, enjoy a fucking burger. But it's like, dude, I'm going there to be a premiere, show my face, promote your shit. But honestly, I'm not going to freaking lie to people either. I mean, she's shown that she's willing to call out things, and if they give her any shit for it, well, apparently she'll fire him for it and seek somebody else who's willing to support her endeavor. But honestly, I have no interest in anything that Marvel and Sony are doing, because I'm writing my own shit for Marvel. I mean, not for Marvel, but it's a Marvel fanfic, because I'm sick and tired of what Marvel is doing on screen. It's like, I'd rather write my own shit like Tolkien did instead of watching all this drab bullshit.
Now, will Sydney Sweeney still have big boobs in your fanfic, or is that just going to be like a canon?
Sydney Sweeney's not in it, and most of the characters are dying in very horrible ways, be they female, kids, or other.
Oh yes, I have voted. I have voted in quite a few.
So it is a Marvel showing.
It's a Marvel fanfic that's basically a tainted universe in which all the characters are villains, and they are being killed one by one.
You had me at everyone dies.
Well,
and no one who knows her is
I
surprised to hear that.
I believe I put that link to that document in your guys' Discord. So,
Oh, you may have.
Yeah.
Raven runs Discord. I don't, so it's not my problem. It's no offense.
I'll have to go back and
Yeah,
look.
that's
I'll have
all.
to go back and look for it.
Well, I think
And on the news today.
I think she's just trying to save her career the best she can. She probably knows that this is a terrible project, not just based on the reactions. She was there. She must have seen herself in dailies. It's not like she needs to see the whole film. So she knows that this is going to be bad, and I think she's kind of trying to take the George Clooney route here, where she'll start trying to laugh at the failure of her hoped for franchise starter here. And maybe this will be a lesson to her not to try to go into these big films. And it might be true. Maybe she did sign on to a film that changed and that was different than what ultimately came out. We don't know. We'd have to see a very first draft.
Maybe I'm being a bit hyperbolic here, but I gotta be honest. I've yet to see her in any good movie, like ever. I think the best movie that I've seen her in, where she was actually somewhat decent, was Bad Times at the El Royale, that Chris Hemsworth movie from a few years back. That's the only like halfway decent film I can remember her actually being in. Has she been in anything good or anything memorable in your eyes?
She's not really a lead. Like that's the thing, is up until this point she's been more of a supporting actor, and like I think she's even in The Social Network, but she's like the fling Justin Timberlake sleeps with. You know what I mean? Like she's not a main character. So she's only recently gotten a few. Suspiria, I really liked her. Once again, that's literally about a witch coven. And outside of that, I've just seen her pop up. What was it? The Lost Daughter on Netflix, which I hated. I thought that was a terrible movie, but a lot of people liked her in that. But yeah, she has not done much.
Well, I think she was also. I think there was a movie called the Peanut Butter Falcon or something like that.
Oh no, she was good in that. Okay, 2019 with Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I barely remember her in that, but
yeah,
I guess it was fine. I did actually.
I only
sleep
remember
through
her from
50 Shades of Grey. I slept through it. I actually slept. Sex was never as boring as it was through 50 Shades of Grey, and believe me, I think I read the book, but.
The
You
second
read
one in
the
the
Twilight. You read the Twilight fan fiction that was written on a BlackBerry.
Yes.
Well, I don't remember I read the whole thing.
My condolences to your sanity.
Well, I tried reading
the BlackBerry
Twilight,
has
but
to be.
I couldn't finish it. Although, so I
The
got the
glitter got in the
audiobook.
way.
Needed to cut the writer.
I got the audiobook, and when Bella says, "I can't believe someone as beautiful as Edward Cullen would be speaking to me," I laughed for 5 miles.
I read all the books, saw all the movies because I was just simply curious. And in this case, those movies are actually better than their books objectively. They suck, but they're better than their books.
Twilight is an abomination that should not exist. I will die on that hill.
I
agree with you.
I will join you.
But I'm just.
I'll say that again. You know, maybe her tact here is just to kind of laugh at herself and say, you know, she knows that this is a disaster, so she will, laugh and she will try to.
I think you're giving her intelligence entirely too much credit, Rick.
she's already signed up on something with Chris Evans and like some kind of a prominent director, so she's on her next project or whatever. But it's like this is a terrible look for her and her career. I was literally the smallest hope that this was going to be okay or decent, and it was exactly the fucking dumpster fire everybody said it was going to be. So
bless you, Roberto. Bless you, Roberto. I think she should do a remake of her mother's film Shining Through. That would be a great thing for me to see. And Liam Neeson is still around. He could still play the same character he did in that movie.
Neo begs a question here, so I guess this is for people who have seen both movies, but which one is worse, The Marvels or Madam Web? I think that The Marvels is a better made movie, like structurally is a better made movie. I think Madam Web is, I gotta be honest, I think Madam Web is a worse movie.
I'll say The Marvels was worse.
I'm going to say The Marvels is worse.
Marvels is a perverted abomination in itself, so...
Yeah. Madam Web was enjoyably bad. I mean, not in so bad that it's good.
Kamala Khan was just annoying. Like, there's nobody in Madam Web that
Khan was
annoying.
fangirling so much that she seemed she had a sexual perversive attraction to
I actually
Captain
thought
Marvel.
she was one of the better parts. It was when they
I
start
would
playing
agree with you.
Cats. It's when they start playing Memory from Cats as there's chaos going around that I just wanted to go up to the screen and just drag it down in just shaking fury.
I don't know. I've got a hot take here that I've said on other shows when the Marvels comes up and people can't stand it. But look, the Marvels is the definition of aggressively mediocre. It's not actually as bad as people give it credit for. It's by no means good. It's going to be remembered as a landmark for a cultural shift more than it's going to be remembered as an actual bad movie. Like when you compare the Marvels to even other MCU films, it's actually, I would say the Marvels is genuinely better than Captain Marvel in terms of how well made it is. The Marvels get shit because everyone saw the writing on the wall for the box office because everyone hates Brie Larson, and understandably so. The Marvels deserves all the shit it gets, but it's not on a technical level. It's just a mediocre at best movie. It's more the cultural shift that matters with the Marvels than the actual film quality.
It really is the Charlottesville of the MCU.
Oh my!
I honestly don't get that.
Put that one on the box right there. This is the Charlottesville of the MCU.
Just a mediocre time.
But I will say that Eternals is probably worse than.
Eternals is definitely worse. There's no argument there. It's way worse than this.
I'm glad I never saw it.
The Eternals actually are as bad as the Eternals was. It had a scene in it that actually conserved the MCU later on in terms of quality, if they actually had any quality nowadays. Because they do have the Fantastic Four coming up, and they do have they are thinking about bringing a character like Galactus in. So when they had Arishem showing up at Earth in the sky, they could actually use that as a template for showing Galactus in space, in the sky, and people looking up laying, holy fucking shit, man.
And then they did nothing
That's
with
the
it.
only good thing about Eternals.
Well, I thought the great moment in Eternals was when Harry Styles pops up at the end to confirm that he's going to be part of the
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles, your generation.
He's the dude who was banging Olivia Wilde in that film that they did a couple years ago.
Don't worry, darling. Yeah, in that one.
Yep.
I actually
don't care.
Jordan Peterson, right.
When he actually came on screen, I turned to my friend and I said, "Was that Harry Styles?" I thought I was literally hallucinating. Like, did I just wake up from this thing and am seeing him? Why is he here? So that one was the worst.
Because the film is shite. That's why he's in there.
But no, I actually thought Madam Web was not as horrendous as everyone. A lot of people here think. I'd sooner watch that than Argyle. All right, there's just no debate here.
Well, I think
Argyle was so bad. I can't get over. I was genuinely excited for Argyle. It was one of the movies I was looking forward to most this year, and that ended up being one of the most miserable film experiences that I've had in my entire adult life. So I would probably take Madam Web over Argyle. That being said, I'm one of only like 12 people that's a fan of Madam Web comics, so I don't know. Maybe I would
if only there was one person on this panel who knew how to write fat female femme fatales, then maybe, just maybe, though, I don't know, maybe that film could have been better if somebody else was in charge of that. But real quick, I think we might be.
I think I told you, I wrote Fat Girl because I got offered a job to write in Hollywood and I couldn't take it because my kids were really little and I don't want to move to Hollywood.
Yeah, it was probably the best move for your soul too. So
I can't believe you put your kids ahead of your career. Honestly, what kind of person are you?
I know. I would have sold my children down the river years ago.
Well, I think we're about to lose Gothic Theory here, but before I let you guys go, you do have, you do. Say it again.
We ain't Star Wars Theory.
Therapy.
That'd be cool, but
you said therapy. You said theory. We are therapy. The therapist.
Okay, honey, relax.
What? It's important that people know.
Yes, but
I have my finger on like 3 buttons right now. I swear to God. Anyway, you guys have a story that you guys are working on. This is a pretty big story that you guys broke here because it's pretty much showing how Disney has been using bots to prop up a lot of their crap. And I think they've gotten caught here. You pretty much did a really deep dive into this real quick. So just go ahead and kind of give us the rundown on this story. You want me to just play just a little bit of your video that you guys posted here a couple hours ago?
You'll want to go a little bit further because it's just a recap at first, but around I think 2 minutes or so in, Right about there.
Right
Go around there and let it play. You should get to you'll kind of see what I found.
All right, and so here we go.
7 trailer, which to be fair could have been coming out at some point anyways. We have to recognize that they are not in a good place right now. And there are other things that they have been engaging in for quite some time, but recently they have been caught in the most spectacular way. And that's what I'm here to show you. So without further ado, here we go. As you can see here, we have a tweet from Moodle Zoop. Now, this is an actual thread. You can go see it. I will probably put up a video here where you can see me scrolling through, so you know it's an actual thread, but you can go check it out yourself. I did not cover up any of the names because there is no reason to. As you can see, this tweet says, corporate profits are still the top concern of investors. Disney shares rose 11.5% after the company reported profits that exceeded analysis expectations and raised its upcoming revenue forecasts. Shares of chipmaker and designer ARM jumped 47.9% thanks to higher than expected profits and an optimistic business outlook. However, the 10-year U.S. Treasury bond yield increased to 4.16% at the end of February 8th. This development puts pressure on the stock market despite a series of positive business result reports showing that the U.S. economy still maintains its strength. And as you can see, this was posted on 2/09/24. It has 1.5 million views and 380 likes. So you might look at this and go, okay, what's the problem here? If you take a look here, you can see the comments. You'll see something very peculiar. Scanning through a bunch of these, I have 16 pages of this. If you take a look, and you can pause the screen for further look if you'd like, you can see that every single post, aside from 1 or 2, responding to this post are paid accounts, and all of them are saying the same things in different variations of the wording. Why am I pointing this out? Because let's be fair here. The only thing that we're seeing is bots. 1.5 million views with 380 likes is such a terrible ratio. But that alone doesn't account for all these paid accounts responding. What's happening here? To put it simply, these are all bots responding to this post to boost engagement, and ads are being run on this post to drive income. Now, we know that...
You know, something really embarrassing I just realized playing that one bit you just mentioned right there is that Disney is actually wasting their marketing budget, paying Twitter to have bots that essentially shill for them. They'll hype up whatever, either like I said, their profits. Obviously, you caught them like topping up, their stock price, because obviously the stock price has been a big story with Disney over the last year. But let's be honest, I'm pretty sure they've done this with movies, the Disney Plus series as well. Like, this isn't just the 100%. Only thing that they've been caught in, and they're wasting money on this, trying to gaslight people. Go ahead.
Society reviews. My husband has folders full of evidence of what you have just described.
I literally spent months on this. They don't say, see, the thing is, if you were going to search for bots for Disney, you'd think, okay, I'll just put some certain Disney properties in and, bang, I'll just find them. No, you can't, because Disney's not stupid like that. They're not going to put things out that make it very, very obvious. We can all know, oh, they're going to bots, but they have plausible deniability. Well, you can't find them, so you can't really do anything, right? Well, every single thing, all bots have codes. So if you're going to have bots on Twitter and you're going to have them doing certain things, you need to actually have them variate enough that nobody can find them. So when it comes to this stock post, that was just one post.
16 pages of replies.
Over 200 replies, all paid accounts saying the same thing about how Disney stock is great. Yes, Disney stock going up 11% versus ARM going up 47% is somehow the same thing. No, it's not. But besides that, I don't just have that. I have folders of information of them promoting their parks, promoting their Disney Plus shows, promoting their comics, promoting the High Republic, and not only Disney, I have a bunch for DC as well, including something that was of note very recently. Would it surprise you to know that they have been botting Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League? I have evidence of that. I have evidence of all of this. And even today, I found even more because I have devised a method, and through different code words that I figured out, I was able to find these tweets. And it took a lot of work. It took a lot of time. But long story short is I can do this over and over as many times as I want, and these accounts will pop up. The thing is, you're not going to find a lot of history of these accounts because they know these accounts are going to get suspended. They plan on it. So when these accounts get suspended, I've seen threads, for example, about Echo is a good one, where they were replying to a post that's disappeared. The original post is gone. Why? Because the account was suspended. So if all the accounts that are replying get suspended, what happens? All the evidence disappears. So Disney doesn't even have to worry about the cleanup effort. They could just use the bots periodically for whatever they want. When the bots get mentioned, boom.
Yeah. In other words, Disney is quite literally doing pro wrestling on Twitter. They're essentially selling people a storyline of something that's not even real. And I looked at the accounts that you were posting there, and it's like, dude, it's so easy to tell which one of these are bots because the usernames always give these away. Like they try to use the check marks to kind of like sway people away from, oh, well, they have to be a real account because they paid for this, right? But the usernames are always a dead giveaway. That, okay, something's not right here.
You also just admitted that wrestling is fake.
Yeah, it's work.
Well,
honey, that was the whole joke.
Oh.
I think honestly, when I was
catch these
reading,
things on.
well, when I was reading, all those tweets about the the positive Disney news, I just thought that we're just reporting on the Biden boom because we are the greatest economic recovery of all time.
Okay, that's enough out of him.
But
so yeah,
okay, no, he didn't mean that.
I have it on reliable source. It's not a surprise that they're doing this. It's this is a tale as old as time, really. The idea of trying to hype up something that is that they're trying to sell to you.
Lying, Rick. The word you're looking for is lying.
Well, and in the same company, I know this is not exactly on topic, but the same company, as soon as that shooting happened at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade, ESPN, Disney was on the soapbox talking about we need gun laws. And I'm like, can we figure out like what happened? Can we just take a deep breath, and be glad that not more people were shot? I mean, all sorts of things. And it's like you're already on the soapbox trying to divide.
Why couldn't Taylor Swift? Why couldn't Taylor Swift have been shot? At least we've had a story outside of her and Travis Kelce, right?
She could have been a hero that day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she made her.
What, you mean
and
that
also
Taylor Swift have died?
She's being shot.
Died, do you mean?
No,
she could have been a martyr.
She could have.
That was in Amsterdam where she gets run over. It's the best part of the movie.
Yes, that is true. Allegedly, people applauded.
And
she also died in CSI. That was a pretty good episode too.
I thought that was Justin Bieber that died on that show.
Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift both died in those shows. Man, when I saw Justin Bieber get gunned down, it's like, fuck yeah!
Okay, all I want is for him to be deported to Canada.
Was like, what the hell?
No, I don't need to kill him.
Is he married to a Baldwin?
Canada.
He's married to
he is getting
one of Alec Baldwin's kids or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
he called a greedy little pig.
Bad decisions. His own daughter.
I'm sorry, Alec Baldwin. Like he may or may not get convicted of that crime, but it's just, he has a litany of just incredibly embarrassing.
Alan Baldwin is a verified scumbag. Like don't feel bad for Alec Baldwin at all.
Well, that would actually work out because if Alec Baldwin gets convicted. And if Trump gets convicted, they could do like a duet live from prison.
You do a buddy cop movie.
Yeah, they could serve together in a prison and do imitations of each other.
Like
put it on Amazon Prime.
Like Martin Lawrence and Jamie Foxx in that one movie. Life. Oh, that was Eddie Murphy. Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, I'd say that was Eddie Murphy. Yeah. There you go. But so obviously, like I said, I just put the link into that video before because I think that story is going to blow up here over the next couple of days as it further exposes like the really shady tactics that Disney uses to pretty much just prop up itself and try to create narratives on social media that don't actually exist. So I do think you guys did a very good job with that one, and I know this is about the time that you guys have to head out here, so I will give you guys the floor. I guess we'll go ahead and start with Miss Raven here and let you guys know anything that you guys want to promote. Go ahead, this is your time to do so. Goth culture representative.
Why, thank you. Promote our YouTube channel, obviously, Gothic Therapy, wherein we comment on pop culture once a week because we don't have the time to make videos daily. So we do once a week. You You can also find my work on Wattpad. Yes, it is Wattpad, the site of horrible fan fiction, but fortunately all my fan fiction on there is actually good and sticks to lore and is respectful of what came before it, and also tries to stay in universe whenever possible. Please read my stuff. And that's about it on my end. I also am a very good cook, which unfortunately only my husband is allowed to taste at the moment.
I'm okay with that.
Just because I can smell dinner through the door. Oh my gosh, beer
good.
braised beef, people. It is a good recipe.
And let's jump over here to the man in the hat over here. What do you have coming up, my friend?
So, aside from our YouTube channel and our regular Sunday video, we have a lot more coming up on that. If you think I'm done exposing Disney, this was just the tip of the iceberg here. As I said, I have spent months on this. So I have a ton more of them doing this, and not always with paid accounts. Let's be fair. This one was significant because of the paid accounts, but they do this a lot, and they do it in ways that you will not detect them unless you figure it out. And it took me a while to crack the code here, and maybe I will reveal what I've did to do that at some point as well. But next up, that's actually the oven.
That's the oven timer.
Letting us know that
Perfect timing.
Ready. But what's next is
turn it off.
I am going to be revealing them using the same kind of technique to promote their parks. The parks they claim are doing so well. Yeah, must not be, because it seems like they have to bought that too. So that's next on the chopping block. Prepare for that at some point. Probably next week, I would say. This week I probably will not have time. I do have a thing I have to do for my... I posted it on Twitter, but I have a thing for my eyes. It's not a big issue, but I have to go do that. So that's going to take priority this week. But next week, I would hopefully be getting to that. And then from there, you know, I haven't even dipped my toe. There's a lot more here. So I haven't even dipped fully in, but there's going to be a lot more coming out. So stay tuned for that as well.
All right. Well, like I said, thank you guys for joining us on the show. As like I said, it feels like you just guys have been here like forever, but this is like the first time we've actually gotten you here on the show. So hopefully it's not the last time. So thank you guys for gracing us with your presence. Now go back and, you know, get that meat before it burns or something. I don't know.
Will do. Will do.
That's very
A
nice.
shame none of you can try it. Has anyone here ever tried beer braised beef?
It's mine.
I recommend it.
It's mine.
You can always sell things. You can always
It's mine.
sell it.
It's mine. You can't have it.
Hi,
It's mine.
It was brief, but it was a pleasure to meet you both.
Well, hi,
Indeed.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Yep. Good night. Thanks for having us.
Let's go, guys.
Stay humble.
All right, Masters of TDS and Raven, ladies and gentlemen, and now we're down to 7. So the bar room has cleared up a little bit. So, well, now that the Jews are gone, let's talk about Jesus. So this is a story that broke out this week.
My God.
Oh, I told you I was saving one, and that was perfect.
That's a nice
Danica
transition
McKellar.
there.
Danica McKellar, who some of you guys may know as Wendy from the Wonder Years.
Yeah.
Big star there. She's been a big star on Hallmark for a number of years. Great American Family. She's been prominent over there the last couple of years as well. I talked about this in both Bounding and the Commons. This is a story we covered about a year ago. She actually just made the move fairly recently from California to Tennessee. So she decided that she's done with the LA lifestyle. She's done with California altogether. She went to, the Southeast, went to Tennessee with her husband and her kids, and essentially moved on with her life, doing work for, family content for Great American Family. And apparently this side of the story broke not too long ago that over the course of the last year, she's actually become a Bible-believing Christian. And I find it very, very interesting how this whole thing unfolded. Because when she was talking about leaving California, she was saying that, my husband and I have been wanting more nature for a long time. We kind of got ready to not be in the city anymore. After spending some time in her new Tennessee home, she said that, she found comfort reading the Bible for both Old Testament and New Testament here. And the reason why she got into it was because her co-star, Candace Cameron Brie, who you guys may know as, which chick from Full House did she play? She was on Full House, but I can never remember the names of all those girls. But she was on that show. CJ, there you go. So she was on that show, and obviously because they work in Great American Family, they do a lot of work together. So she got her into reading the Bible, and then she said that when she started reading it, it just hit her. Everything came to me. The Holy Spirit came to her, and it was like a wave of love and understanding. She admits that she always strayed away from Christianity when she was in California because being in the Hollywood bubble, her only exposure to Christianity was from the very secular, outright demonic. If you guys listened to me and Rob's show a couple weeks ago, view of Christianity from Hollywood. But when she actually started reading for herself, she realized that she had always been so biased against Christianity for various reasons, mostly because it had a bad reputation of causing wars and being overly religious. She always heard that Christians were really judgmental people, and that Jesus was anti-religion. They found out that she was against, that she said that Jesus was against religion. I think she's specifically talking about the Catholic Church here. Then we'll save that point for another as we go on into the story. But she says that once she started to actually understand things, she fell in love with it, and she's ended up reading the entire Bible in less than a year. And she's talked about her journey of how she's gotten here, and it all essentially started with her leaving California, finding a new group of people to work with. And she says that she's given all her credit to God now. Time and time she's given her a newfound sense of hope and a new sense of happiness and understanding of the world, because I think she's looking at the world through the same lens that we've all been looking at it in too. And in an industry that continues to promote a lot of occultism, LGBTQ stuff, racial division, she's gotten some heat internally for this, because obviously the big thing with Great American Family is that they took heat about a few months ago, saying that we're not going to do LGBTQ content here. We're just going to strictly focus on family related content. We're going to do those old cheesy Christmas stories that everyone claims that they don't like, but every time it gets to around December, they seem to get a lot of viewership. That's maybe with the women over there, so blame CJ. That's probably her neck in the woods over there. But yeah, so like I said, she's all in on Christianity, and all it took for her was literally to leave Babylon. So that's how we got to this point here. So CJ, this is kind of the reason why I wanted to have you on. I'm gonna go ahead and start this one off of you here. What do you think of we're starting hot with you. What did you think of Danica essentially finding God, finding Christianity? What do you think about this story?
I think it's beautiful. So I mean, like,
elaborate.
Yeah,
and so is she. Oh my God, my wife.
Like literally, we have like one woman on the show. She's the only one who doesn't talk. Like, you know how hard it is to find a woman who doesn't talk, especially after the Jew. Exactly. Oh my God.
I grew up in the church, and I've been in the church, and I've had my days of backsliding, the days where you stay home from church to catch up on Family Guy instead of going to church, Okay, and I know, like, that there's a lot that you can be surprised by still, even after all these years. And I really love stories of people like getting older and coming into it with like fresh eyes on some level, because I've like I said, I grew up in the church and I just kind of stayed here, and I love it. I mean, I know this is like my home. This is where my heart belongs. And I know that my brain and my will need a good beating once in a while, but I think that's just like the beautiful simplicity of it all, is it only takes one moment and one friendship and one decision to change your life.
Yeah. I want to flip this over to Orange Chat here, because I wanted to talk to you about this aspect of the story here. It's like we see so many people in Hollywood who claim to be Christians or claim to be Catholic and don't actually follow any of the actual teachings of the Bible whatsoever, and we call them out as hypocrites, obviously. But this is a woman who, and I've said this before with many other people, if you're true to what you believe, I don't think you can actually remain in the industry the way that it's currently set up. Now, who knows? Maybe AI takes out Hollywood here in the next couple of months, because it seems like we're on that pace right now. But here you have a woman who was in the Hollywood bubble for so many years, finally realized that, hey, there's something not right here. I want to get out of it. Moved to literally the other side of the country, and is now essentially in a position where she's actually trying to practice what she preaches here. What do you think about Danica McKellar here compared to kind of other Hollywood stars over the last year? Because I know you've called out a lot of people for saying like, hey, you want to call out the system, but you remain in the system, being part of the problem. What do you think about her essentially removing herself from that problem here?
honestly, I think that's one of the most commendable things a person can do, because if you are willing to pull away from it and seek a higher calling, it really does show that, and then actually follow through with it, mind you. She actually moved away and is actually deep diving into religion. And I find that is extremely commendable. Whether or not she will basically call out the evils of Hollywood, that remains to be seen. But I do think that if a person is going to take a stand, then they need to take a stand. You can't have both your feet on the tip of the fence, because the more you ride that fence, well, the more it's going to start stabbing into your ass, and you're going to eventually have to take a side. And I find it interesting that this is she was young when she was in Wonder Years. I remember watching the Wonder Years. And so chances are she has seen some heinous shit. So after reflecting through her life, she probably is wondering, well, maybe there is something upstairs that I need to get right with before I meet my end. So good on her. And if more people were in Hollywood were to do that, there would be a little bit more hope for entertainment in Hollywood as a whole.
Like I said, there's a few things happening in Hollywood at the moment where I feel like we're at a tipping point, because I'm not sure if you guys saw that apparently there's this new AI technology that can create videos that looks like almost extremely real, to the point where it's almost getting disturbing how quickly this thing is progressing versus where it was a year ago. And people are kind of looking at the writing of the wall. It's like, if this progresses any more in the next year or so, like you can get to the point where you might not need writers anymore. You might not actually need actors. Like, you can do everything in the computer. Now, obviously that takes the whole aspect of creativity away from Hollywood. But as you know, Hollywood's pretty much owned by bigger corporations who only care about a bottom line to begin with. So from their perspective, they'll have no issue with moving towards that whole step. And then what's going to be left of Hollywood? All these people who have quite literally sold everything for their careers, and their careers might just be gone just in a snap of the hat in the next few years. I think that would be a cruel twist of fate for a lot of people. But like I said, maybe there's some people who see some writing on the wall there. So I'm going to flip this one over here to the heathens here, which is essentially all the other people here, these four gentlemen down here. What is your take on this story? I'll start with Eddie.
First off, I'm actually so proud of Danica McKellar. I've actually followed her career a lot, and she does really, really good movies. Like, she's a really, really good actress. Like, beyond Winnie and everything, beyond my crush for Winnie. I was like 5 when the show came out, so older woman kind of a thing.
I mean, she was 14 at the time, but it wasn't creepy in context. So
right.
It's fine.
Yeah. Thank God. Anyway, so the thing is about Hollywood, like, I've been finding out, because I go back and forth to Hollywood. I try to sell my stuff. I try to, hobnob every once in a while, try to find something to do. And like, this city doesn't really want you to be anything other than what it wants you to be, which is what it is. It wants you to be a soul-sucking jerk. Yeah, it wants you to be a soul-sucking jerk that, thinks that it demands everything and all that. But that's how you get ahead of this place. And if this place does go down, because a lot of people, like a lot of actors and actresses now are like, they're getting over I think a lot of them understand now that they're never going to get the contracts that were back in the 90s and 2000s, the $60 million Jim Carrey contracts, 4-movie $60 million. It's never gonna be like that ever again pretty soon. And when that happens, we're gonna have a different kind of Hollywood. And I'm optimistic to that point, because I think when the mega corporations are done with movies, because mega corporations, they just jump from one thing to another. That's why they had to pick up comics. They had to pick up video games. They had to pick up all of this stuff. So eventually they're going to get bored with movies. Movies aren't going to be a thing to them. It's just going to be a propaganda piece. And there's going to be a real push for real Hollywood. and you're going to have a lot of these independent studios that are going to be popping up that are going to have different values in different states on how movies should be looked at and how movies should be made, and especially on budgets and especially on content. And I honestly think there's going to be a lot more movies that are going to be like more religious, maybe not religiously indentured or whatever, but like religiously toned. There's going to be morals back in film pretty soon. Like people are going to start putting this stuff back in just because it's so antiquated now that it's going to be the old is new again, kind of a thing. So I'm kind of optimistic for Hollywood, even if it does burn Babylon. I'm okay. Speaking in Sodom, I'm hoping Gomorrah goes up in flames.
I hope it goes out the same way that the first one did, a giant rock coming out of the sky and blowing everything to ash. But I don't think it's going to end like that based on what the Bible says. Rick, you love Sodom and Gomorrah. What do you think about this little story here?
Well, first, I don't know how I got to be a heretic. I mean, I do go.
It's okay. I was wondering the same thing about myself. So
Yeah, it's like. Yeah, I'm almost.
Well, me and Leon, because we have long hair and look at.
I'll say for Danica, pretty much orange hat says what I would say. Good for her. She has found her faith. She has found her calling. Though to be fair, I know Danica mostly from her math books, not from her film or television career. Because honestly, I don't think I ever saw the Wonder Years. I mean, clips, but I never saw the show. I don't think I'm the target audience for these great American country films, or even the Hallmark films, which I have seen a couple. The one with the Duchess of Sussex, but really good for her. I'm happy if she wants to pursue. Yeah, she was in. Yeah, she was in one of those, or at least one or two. So. Good for her. I'm happy that she has found, she's found a calling, she's found the faith. But it's interesting that a lot of these people who are in Hollywood and either embrace or rediscover their faith tend to leave California. It's not often that they actually stay there and are very firm in their faith. I think you had was it Carlos and Alexa de la Vega? They went to Hawaii, and that's where they're based out. And same with Danica. So good for her. And I could do with some math tutoring. So if she wants to come down to El Paso and review the multiplication tables,
why would she go to El Paso to teach some gringo math? Like, why would she do that?
I'm not a gringo. Soy Chicano ese Holmes. Soy Chicano.
Right, she's a gringa. She should be coming over here. She should open her doors open, and we should be able to move in.
That's really what I know about her following the Wonder Years, was that she was some kind of a math genius. It wasn't even like I don't remember if she went to Harvard, but there was something along those lines where she was renowned for her mathematical skills. Like that's how smart and impressive it was for her. And just for anybody, much less an actress.
And just real quick, if you're that good at math, how do you not go to Vegas and count cards? Like, it seems like that's a slam dunk way to like rob the bank. It's like, how do you
fumble? Rain Man came out the same year doesn't mean.
Dude, do you know how many of us would have been like stellar at math if someone had told us when we were 8, hey, you can make a lot of money off the card games as long as you're good at math? It's like,
they do a movie
until they kick you out and blacklist you.
Yeah, but then they do a movie about that where the original figures were Asian and then they changed them to white characters. Like 21.
Aloha?
21.
Aloha. I think it's 21. That's a damn good movie, though. I think it might be my
that's your boy, Kevin Spacey.
It was my favorite Kevin Spacey movie. I'm not going to lie.
I thought you were talking about the movie Aloha with Cameron Crowe's movie where Emma Stone is supposed to be an Asian woman. So,
yes.
I mean, so. But no, I wish her the best. Look, if she's serious about a life change or whatever, that's great. But yeah, we all reach different parts of our life. I have certainly started to question things the last couple years after kind of being agnostic for most of my 20s. So and that's just a part of growth. That's a part of wanting more in your life and realizing the limitations of the area or the career that you're in, and gravitate towards what brings you peace and brings you just common sense shit in your life. I mean, I can't imagine how chaotic it is to live in Hollywood to try to live a career like that. So good for her.
All right, and I only go over here closest one out with Leon. Definitely not infidel Leon, but what do you think about this whole story?
No, I don't talk about it often, but I am actually a religious individual. I don't talk about it often just because I think that looking at things through a secular lens when you are religious offers a very interesting way, new angle to look at things. That's why I'm looking at this story through the same lens. And I can't pretend to know too much about this particular individual, but this is a familiar story because it's a story we've been seeing for a long time, the last several years in Hollywood. You have Mark Wahlberg left Hollywood, Dana Carvey left Hollywood. You see this over and over. I mean, this is getting to be a story that is incredibly common, and it makes me think that at this point, I don't think the religious aspect actually really matters all that much because I believe in objective moral truths. Most individuals, regardless of what religion they follow, have the same believe in the same objective moral values, whether it be Buddhism, whether it be Christianity, which is what I follow or whatnot. So many people are seeing the absolute lack of morals and guiding light that is in Hollywood. So it doesn't surprise me at all to see these individuals leaving. What's more interesting is the narrative around it. When you have people from all these different social and religious and political views all coming to the same conclusion, to me that is incredibly telling. So I don't know. I think it's awesome that she's doing it. I think it's her reasoning is great. By the same token, I wonder what this means going forward when it's when it's becoming hip to be square. When I'm a punk rocker. I grew up playing punk rock music, skateboarding, the whole nine. And when you see that believing in God and having a fiscal responsibility and all this sort of stuff is the new punk rock, when the new cool thing to do is to be religious or have conservative values or whatever it may be, that is a very interesting pendulum swing that I do not think Hollywood and the vast majority of individuals in Hollywood are prepared for, despite the fact that that's what we're seeing, not just in America and not just in the West, but literally the world over. You see a lot of this in Japan. You see a lot of this, and believe it or not, you see some of this in China, at least the little bit they're allowed to do. My best friend's wife is a Christian Chinese woman, so getting her take on stuff like this is very interesting, which I talk to her about all the time. Like I think that there's a lot going on here that is not being goes beyond Hollywood. It's not being propped up by the mainstream media because it's crumbling their narrative to acknowledge that the mass majority of individuals the world over, irrespective of religion, is starting to get behind this movement. And that is telling.
I do find it very interesting too, how it's kind of how far we've shifted in our culture over the last 30 something years now, even more than 30 years. How let's go 40 years for the sake of this example, right? 40 years ago, we were moving away from religion and being outright anti-religious. A lot of people were placing, things with Satanism and atheism because, hey, that's cool. That's counterculture now based on where we were in the 1980s. Now we've gone essentially a complete 180 from where we were there to where we are now, where now all of a sudden being traditional is considered counterculture. It's like, no, I want to just be married and have kids and have a farm and all that stuff. And that's considered counterculture to what's being promoted today. And it's like, it's weird, and it's also sad at the same time that this is where we're at, that we're talking about a story like this, and it's oh my god, it's almost I'm trying to think of the best word say for YouTube purposes, because they'll kick you off or anything around here. But I think it's very, very interesting now that people are being drawn away from what was supposed to be the most attractive thing to them at the time. Talking about the land of personal desires, it is Hollywood, right? The whole idea of you can have all the money, you can have all the women, you can have all the things and all the power, exactly, right? And now people are looking at that for what it is, and it's yeah, you know what? I'm gonna move away from that one. I'm just gonna slowly just tap out of this town. And like I said, you're hearing more and more stories now. People just completely walking away from it. And these are people who have been in there for a very, very long time, which tells you that having all of these things apparently doesn't lead to happiness, because eventually you get to the point where it's this is no longer what I want anymore. So
there's a very famous quote. It's there's a very famous quote. It's when a man can't find meaning in his life, he chases pleasure. So
yep.
Well, I mean,
look at Matthew Perry.
Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm a D&D player. I've been a D&D player my whole life, and I remember the satanic panic around D&D and around heavy metal music, and being told, "Hey, you can't listen to Ozzy Osbourne." The school that I went to growing up was a very religious town in Midwest USA, that you weren't allowed to celebrate Halloween at school. After school, obviously you do, but you weren't allowed to wear costumes at school. They weren't allowed to have Halloween parties. So many parents didn't let their kids read Harry Potter. And there is a level of, as much being a Christian, I have to acknowledge some of the negativities of it. There is, in fact, religious abuse that happens to youth and whatnot. So it makes sense that they would want to, leave and experience it. Like, hey, I've been suppressed and repressed my entire life because of the foot coming down on it. I think that it takes a cultural balance. You can have individualism and you can have the liberties that are granted to us by God as our American Constitution is based on. The fact that we have individual liberties and rights that are hand given by God Himself. You can have that while also have the I don't want to say the culture we have in Hollywood, because obviously modern Hollywood's culture is disgusting and immoral, but like what we thought the culture was before we were awakened to what the reality is. We can have, I think, the romanticized version of Hollywood culture can exist. It is theoretically possible, but we need to strike a balance between the objective moral truths that we see in our daily lives and expressing our individualism, with the world over.
Yeah, just like we had before. Like it used to be a hard thing to become a Hollywood actor. Like, it wasn't like you just went to Hollywood and, hey, bent over one day and you became an actor. No, like, you actually had to work your way into getting into a studio and into getting into a production and into getting into all these things to get to where you wanted to be. To become
now you can just be on TikTok.
Right. And that's the thing. And going back to wrestling, it used to be that you had to actually be you had to actually be in junior varsity wrestling, at least. You have to understand the hold. You have to understand the lockup. You have to understand a whole lot of things before you got into the ring. Not let alone put on television or put on, whatever, put on pay-per-view, whatever. To get in the ring and be actually working with somebody, you had to learn a whole lot before you got into that point. And now, I think everyone nowadays, we have an entire generation that grew up watching absolute, I'm not going to say nobodies because, but everybody's a nobody, right? Absolute nobodies become huge stars and have
you can say Lance Storm's name. Well, we get it. Like,
I get it. But, love you, Lance. I'm going to go to your school one day. I love Storm wrestling. You all these people who really would just be random Joes, random garbage men, random, taxi drivers, whatever. If society just worked the way it was, become celebrities. And it's so easy to become a celebrity now. And it's so easy to become all these things. And it's so easy to garner money from all of that and garner fame and garner any little thing that you want. And it's,
yeah. Have you heard the term
micro? There's no earned here. There's no earn here,
Have you heard the term micro influencer? That's an actual thing. Is that think of it like a cult classic movies that don't that didn't make a lot at the box office but have incredibly loyal followings. There are corporations out there right now that are giving sponsorships to TikTokers and whatnot and calling them micro influencers. Like, hey, you may only have 5,000 followers, but those 5,000 followers like everything you post and they watch every video you post. So here's a sponsorship deal because it's not going to reach 1 million people. But 5 of those 5,000 people, like 3,000 of them are probably going to buy it because you've got such a hold on them. It's such a strange business model that we find ourselves in when terms like that even exist.
Mm-hmm.
I just long when cigarettes were sold by the actors smoking them on screen. That's the period I long for. Okay, because you know what? At least yes, it was corrupt, and all those people had sex parties too. But there was still a semblance of respect for the audience. Like I cannot tell you how many freaking, and I don't mean like moralistic movies because that's always existed to some degree. Actual religious stories existed so prominently in Hollywood productions all throughout the 50s, and I know
one of the greatest directors of all time is the greatest director of all time was the one that was promoting all of those religious movies. In the middle.
But the simple reason for that, though, is because religious stories, much like all good stories, follow a 3-act structure and a hero's journey. So, like, it doesn't matter if it's the reason that things like the 10 Commandments, for example, one of the greatest movies of all time, works as a good movie is because it works as a good story because it follows a 3-act structure and a hero's journey. Like, it's bananas to me that people want to just write off the biblical or really any sort of religious film. Most religious films have great potential for being good stories because they're already good stories. They follow storytelling tenets.
Religious films were successful for a few reasons. One, most people at that time were familiar with the source material. Two, they could be pretty much, I guess, would be quote family friendly. And third, you do have skilled directors like a Cecil B. DeMille, like William Wyler, who were yes, you were able to make. I think George Stevens also did The Greatest Story Ever Told. So they were craftsmen making all of these films, and the studios knew that they could rely on biblical epics to have a good box office, and they also have great performances in them. And my favorite meme, one of my favorite memes, but
just to end things, real quick.
No, blasphemer, idolater.
No, so one of my favorite bits from Family Guy is Stewie talking about Jeffrey Hunter, who was good enough to die for our sins, but was not up to the task for seducing green women, because apparently he was Captain Kirk before.
Well, in fairness, Jeffrey
Shatner.
Hunter, when he played Jesus in, I believe, The Greatest Story Ever Told, or no, King of Kings, and it was a remake. When he played that, he was mocked, and they nicknamed the movie "I Was a Teenage Jesus" because he looked so youthful. Point being, they have those are big films, and they knew it. They might not have been believers. They might not have really had moral lives, but they did respect the audience enough to know, hey, this is something that you like. Nowadays, it's gone the opposite direction, where anything religious in a film is seen as almost suspicious. You have very few characters now who are openly evangelical on film or television. I think the last, this is going to be a strange thing, the last openly evangelical character that I can remember in a movie was in Firewall with Harrison Ford. There was a minor character that they nicknamed Born Again Bobby because he was open about being Christian, and I think at one point they had to go to him in his church, and he was playing in their band. So that's as close to I guess a positive portrayal of a Christian that you can find in film or television.
Every single Superman movie uses Christian iconography. You can't make a Superman movie without Superman falling in the shape of the cross. Like,
well, I'm trying to remember. Well, I mean, they also they also drew on the story of Moses.
Yeah,
because the creators were Jewish.
They kept the Christianity in Nightcrawler and X-Men too.
That's true.
That is true. He did stay, I think, Catholic because he does have his rosary.
You mean the movie that came out in 2002?
All I know is that the best religious movie that's come out in 20 years is obviously The Book of Clarence, and I feel a deep. And so free at last, that's what they're going to finally become. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, you look at real quick at was it Prince of Egypt, where they actually did consult Jewish and Christian leaders. They even changed the lyric to the song when you believe, because the original line was "You can make miracles," but then they were told only God can make miracles, and that's why they had to change the line to "There can be miracles when you believe," instead of "You can make miracles when you believe." So at least in that one, they had some respect. Now, it's questionable.
I'm actually really excited for Dune 2, and you saw in the first Dune as well, because I don't know if you guys have read the Dune books. They're my favorite book series of all time, but they are incredibly allegorical. They are technically beat you over the head allegorical, and I don't doubt that they're going to keep that in the Dune films as they kept it in the first one. I bet they're going to do it in the sequel as well. Like
Zendaya is Jesus. That's what the allegory is.
That is not the allegory. Don't go perpetuating that lie. I've seen idiots online say that is so not accurate to what's in the book. If the movie does do that, then fuck that movie. Like,
I think me and Rob are the only ones who are firmly in the "we hated the first Dune" movie. I think we'll
I saw it in theaters again. I've seen it 4 times.
Yeah, my man.
What a mark.
But it was easily one of the best. It was easily one of the best screenplays ever written last year. I mean, or the year before it came out.
2022 completely agree.
2021.
Any like that is that in my opinion that is textbook. This is how you follow the source material. And again, as somebody that I was going to be very hard to please because it is my favorite book series. So.
Well, like I said, we'll see what happens when that film comes out here. But let's shift over here to our closer, to one person who found Jesus, to one person who desperately needs Jesus. It's Kristen Stewart. And I almost kind of wish that Raven was still here because we're going to talk about her favorite film series of all time here.
There.
I gotta go before we do because I gotta get up in the morning.
All right. Well, you want to go ahead and sign off here real quick?
Yep. You guys can find me on my channel, Orange Hat Reviews. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be on Jade Shadow's channel for Underworld Evolution. Then Thursday Singles is My Bloody Valentine 2009. Friday is Orange Hat Uncensored. And Sunday is the weekly recap. And Tuesday will be Mortal Kombat versus Mortal Kombat. So, yeah. Other than that, that's where you can all find me. Also, writing a Marvel fan fiction. Hopefully it's better than what Marvel's putting out today. If you want a link to that, hit me up on Twitter at OrangeHat2185, and I'll send you a link. Anyway, folks, thank you guys for having me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yep.
Bye, Orange Hat.
Good night, Orange.
Peace out, bro.
Good night.
Right.
Yes, it does, Spencer.
Blasphemer.
Is that the new one?
Idolater.
Idolater.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
For this you shall drink bitter waters, Roberto.
Was Keith Urban really good as Johnny Cage though?
No. I mean, look, I enjoy the 94 movie as just a dumb, fun like adaptation of the video game. But yeah, that HBO Max 2021 Mortal Kombat was just not good at all.
Not at all. Yeah.
Even Goro was like, oh, really? How did you ruin Goro?
Especially since 20 years ago, Goro looked awesome. Like that.
How did you make Goro look worse?
Right.
Yeah, I get that. But,
he kicked him in the nuts. He punched him in the nuts. That was one of the best things I've ever seen in a movie.
Yep.
Right.
But Kristen Stewart, she was on the cover.
Another
of Rolling
punch in the
Stone.
nuts.
She was the one on Rolling Stone here recently where she wanted her cover to be like the gayest thing that anyone's ever seen. I think that was kind of like a direct quote from her. So she's promoting a new movie that actually I think me and Rob are actually somewhat looking forward to. It's not for the reasons that you would think, but this is the Rolling Stone cover that caught so many ire of people here. And I think at some point somebody said she used to be attractive. I mean, she's never been like a thing for me.
People are coping. She was never attractive.
Yeah. So
she didn't always look like a greased up like ball of homosexuality, but she was never attractive.
Yeah, I mean,
you should never have been nominated for Spencer. That was a terrible performance.
Was she nominated?
Especially,
she
was.
Okay.
Yeah, she was.
But I mean, not only that, but what's the chick, the tall chick, Elizabeth, like Debicki?
Is she manspreading?
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly like what she's doing.
What about Elizabeth Debicki?
Well, she's actually won like awards for her portrayal of Princess Diana. Like, in like less than 2 years after, what's her face didn't even get it. Stewart here didn't even get an award
what's her
for
face
that
for
film.
talking about her.
She didn't. But
We've already forgotten about her. She's in the title.
She's some dude now. Why do you keep showing me a bunch of dudes all the time whenever I want to talk about chicks?
Well,
she's the one actress in Hollywood that Harvey Weinstein was like, I don't know about none of that. Like,
can we get the casting couch if this is what we're going to be getting nowadays, Black? Please.
I mean, she.
Sydney Sweeney could get on that casting. Could get on my casting couch if she wants. But yeah, I'm insane.
Here's the thing, and because you're not done. You're not completely done talking about the story, right?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
so I just wanted to. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll let you guys go in when I'm done here. So essentially what's going on here is that she has a new movie coming out with what's her name, the chick from Mandalorian and Ant-Man 3. I think Katie O'Brien is the name of her. And essentially what's really happening here is that she's trying to find some way to move her career in another direction, because ever since Twilight, she hasn't really been in anything notable. Like I said, I don't know how she got nominated for playing Princess Diana and Spencer, but somehow she did. But
she was very breathy. You know, that's how she spoke.
But everything else that she's done in that, like she's had some stinkers. Like you remember, like all Underwater, Charlie's Angels, Personal Shopper, which is supposed to be some kind of like Oscar bait film, which did terribly.
Personal Shopper get? Personal Shopper got a Criterion.
How? For what?
I don't know.
She's naked in it, and it's
Snip
artsy,
direction.
and it's I don't know.
Well, her new movie is called Love Lies Bleeding, and it's essentially about a romantic thriller where two lesbians fall in love with each other, but they get entangled into the mob. So it's Kristen Stewart, who's supposed to be kind of like the dykey lesbian, and then Katie O'Brien, who looks like, a jacked Rhea Ripley type person, and that's supposed to be like the whole angle of the story here. But what you're really seeing here is that she's essentially trying to go all in on, hey, I'm queer, I'm gay, this is going to be my new direction. Hopefully that this will help me get work in Hollywood now. And she's created this film through, she made a couple of quotes here about this film, which, it is what it is. But she talked about how in this film, they're actually going to create a quote unquote real strong feminine woman, not the way that Hollywood does it. She says that, she doesn't like the way that Hollywood does strong feminine women, because it means we're not actually letting women define themselves. It's the assumption that we need to be empowered by people who are deciding who gets to have that perspective. So she's complaining that somehow Hollywood's attempt at making strong female women aren't actually progressive enough, because it's not the women who are doing these things, specifically the gay women who are doing these things as well. She says she's absolutely sick and tired of these type of films. She said, I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of that effing movie. So this just feels like we're allowed to pull our dresses over our head, run down the street, and use boy toys and shove them in our faces, and then be like, we're nothing like you. So she's standing on this film as kind of like beating her chest of like, hey, Hollywood, we're different than you, and we're going to show it here with this film. Now, I saw the trailer for this movie. I think Rob has seen it too. It's either going to be the worst movie that you've seen all year, or it could actually accidentally be a good film. We're still kind of on the fence here. I'm not sure exactly where Rob falls with this one here, but
the trailer looks good.
Yeah, it could be good or it could be awful. It's really too early to tell now, but I think this movie comes out in a couple of weeks, so we will find out here.
It's gonna be
very soon.
It's gonna be A24's Brave.
And that's another thing. A24, I mean, they're very hit and miss. They're either giving you something that's actually really good, like an Uncut Gems, or they're giving you complete and utter dog shite, like Bodies, or something dumb like that. Like, there's really no consistency with that film studio whatsoever. But it's a movie.
They're original though. Give A24 credit. At least they're original.
They're trying to do something different.
They're original. Like I said, my problem is they're not consistent. They are original, but like I said, they tend to hit or miss quite a lot here. But yeah, this is Stewart's new thing here, and people were trying to say that, oh, look at all these Republicans who are upset at these pictures because she's gay now, and it's like, I don't think it was the fact that anyone was like upset. It's like, oh, these pictures I've seen. It's like, you're not attractive. Like, even when you're trying to be sexy and like the I'm queer now type of way, like nobody wants to see it. No one wanted to see it then, so I don't think anyone wants to see it now either. Like, that's kind of more of the problem here. But Rob,
Joe's narrative that like people don't like. Let's keep it real. Lesbian porn was popular with dudes years before we accepted homos. Like let's call it what it is. There's no one like, oh, she's gay now. Dudes 20 years ago would have been like, hell yeah, she's gay now. Like,
yeah.
Looking like Joan Jett is not a fashion statement nor a sex symbol,
Yeah. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, so I'll just say this. Look, I've actually followed Kristen Stewart's career because I think we're the same age. I mean, she was in
we have the same
Call of the Wild, Sean Penn's movie in 2007 when she looked normal, kind of like right before Twilight. She was in Adventureland. She's been in movies that I've seen throughout, kind of being a young adult and whatever. She is a girl at best, girl next door, plain Jane, dressed down, one of the guys kind of thing. And obviously it's because she's gay. She's been gay this entire time. All the rumors that when she was with Robert Pattinson with Twilight, all of that was a front. Like he was her beard. And then when she cheated on that schlubby, gross producer / director and cheated on Robert Pattinson, supposedly, it was literally so that she could like go off on her, kind of independent actor, whatever. But she's been trending this way towards being gay, being a lesbian. She has a wife. I mean, for at least 5 years. She had that Christmas movie that came out on Netflix that I thought actually wasn't terrible with Mackenzie Davis and Aubrey Plaza a couple years ago. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that she's unappealing, but she is definitely promoting herself in like the queer gay aesthetic. She looks like a dyke. You know what I mean? And that's
Anne
her
Heche
prerogative.
didn't do that, and Anne Heche was, she was gay as shit, but she played straight women
Anyway,
all
that's
the
what
time.
she wants to do. That's her thing. But it's ultimately like nobody's interested. Like, you're trying to create a niche space that nobody cares about. And here's the thing: if you want people to think like your movie has something to say, let your movie say that. If you're in an interview being loud and being out and, hey, this is so aggressively, and you're trying too hard, lady. You're trying way too hard to win over or convince people, maybe yourself, that this is, the right path, and it makes a statement and it's going to be empowered. Let your movie say that. Let your movie be good and speak volumes. Stop being so over the top in your presentation, because it's really just driving people away.
And be more like Anne Heche.
She's dead, but okay.
Well,
exactly.
I mean,
She's quiet.
We don't know that she woke up before they put us in drugs.
That is not. Hey, that is gay erasure or something. I don't know.
By the way, the first comment on this whole thing, which we was talking about, I want to do the gayest thing that you've ever seen. First comment here is like, you've already done the gayest thing you've ever seen. It was called Twilight. So like, you don't have to get any gayer than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Sparkly vampires. Too bad that didn't work out the other way around. I actually would have thought she was. I actually would have believed she was a lesbian faster if she was sparkly. To be honest.
That's a. What was the other girl's name who was in Twilight too? Just real quick, because wasn't there like a second girl who was like
up in the air girl?
Yeah, the redheaded vampire who's actually cute. I don't know the actress's name, but I remember
Anna
that girl was
Kendrick.
cute. I never even
Is that who
seen
you're-
Twilight.
I thought.
No,
it was
not Anna Kendrick. The
Ashley
tall
Green?
one.
Ashley Green.
Ashley Green. Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised that Hollywood never went anywhere with her. Maybe she didn't go on the casting couch. Maybe that was a problem. I don't know.
Call us, Ashley.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I met one of the minor characters at a con from Twilight, and I just asked her, "How do vampires produce sperm?" Because they're dead.
Did she pepper spray you? Because she should have.
No, she laughed and she said, "Yeah, let me call Stephanie right now, and we'll find out for you."
Mhm.
So she had a sense of humor about that. For Kristen Stewart,
Called Bad Writing, Rick.
well, no, it's my number one golden rule of filmmaking, or in this plot line. It had to happen. With Kristen Stewart,
writing.
I don't know. Well, yes, that as well. It's a terrible book, but I don't know how this is, quote, the gayest thing possible. I mean, I've seen The Birdcage. That's probably gayer than anything that she could come up with. So
Other than that John Wayne walk.
who is she trying to appeal to? The point of this is just to sell the movie, and it's already kind of as Rob said, a niche market. There aren't that many people interested in Kristen Stewart herself. She doesn't have a track record of opening films. Twilight, they went for the series, not for her. If anyone else had been cast, they would have seen the other actress. So who is she really trying to get to watch her movie by saying, "Oh, this is the gayest thing or the most aggressive thing that I could do"? It's not going to sell tickets. It's not going to be interesting. I don't know if this movie will be successful. I get this one confused with that Drive-By Dolls, because they're both about lesbians on the run.
Is that what the other one? Is that what the other one's about? Is that what the Drive-By Dolls?
They're both the exact same movie, except for one's played as a comedy, one's played as a drama. It's the same movie.
Yeah,
I had to listen to that commercial for like 72 hours because I've been driving. Right, I told you, I've been driving for 72 hours. I had to listen to that commercial over and over again about this stupid 1920s jigsaw or jazzy kind of movie. I had no idea it was about lesbians. I thought it was about a cop and a somebody or other. I was like,
yeah, well, yes, one is shown as very lighthearted. This one is shown as very serious.
yeah.
So I don't know how this is going to, because again, all your promotional, all this promotion, the Rolling Stone cover, all of that is geared toward one purpose: to sell the movie. It's not there to promote how great you are about being a lesbian or what have you. It's to sell the movie. If you're not going to sell the movie, then why are you even bothering with all of this? And
I will say this, based on what we've seen from the trailers here, if this film actually does end up being good, it's not going to be because of Kristen Stewart. It's going to be because of Katie O'Brien.
Yeah, this other chick.
She looks like she actually still has her soul. Like Kristen Stewart looks like hers is just like fractured into pieces that can't be put back together.
She's gonna break this muscle chick.
Like exactly, but she actually has like a sense of like charisma and like I think the last thing I seen her in was it was Ant-Man, and that was like one of the actual few parts of that film that was actually good, and it was very few because that movie was absolutely like dog water awful. But
which Ant-Man?
The third one, the last one, the one with Kang the Conqueror, who was Kang, but it's no longer.
Who was
Kang.
she?
She was one of the people on the quantum realm. That was one of the rebels in the quantum realm. You don't remember her?
No, I don't remember that.
She was like how do you not remember the big muscle chick from Ant-Man 3? It's like it wasn't like there were several of them.
Well, I only remember that big floating head.
God.
Oh, she looks like Rufio to me from that Robin Williams Neverland movie.
Yeah, right.
That was a good one.
Like, look at her. Tell me you don't see Rufio.
Probably. I mean, not gonna lie, there he doesn't.
I like her though. I like that. I've only seen the trailer. I only like her. That muscle chick. She's the only interesting thing in the entire movie. So I hope the entire movie revolves around her, to be quite honest.
Because if they make a decision they're wrong around Kristen Stewart, that's going to be a massive mistake.
If it's Kristen Stewart like walking around every once in a while saying something dumb and then getting naked and making out with her and everyone, and it's solely about the muscle chick, I'm okay with that. Then it'll be a good movie to me. If it's about Kristen Stewart getting all dakey and everything,
no, I think it's.
I've already seen Monster.
Stewart. I think it's going to center around Stewart because she is.
I guess. Well, it's her dad. Ed Harris is her father, who she's trying to kill. So yes, she is the main character. But I'll say it has a strong visual layout to it. That is what kind of that is the outside shot that hey, this might be a good genre movie. But yeah, so we'll see.
Something just clicked in my mind as you said that. I didn't even hit it to beat so just now because Ed Harris is in this movie as well. This movie reminds me of Pain and Gain because Ed Harris was in that film too. If this can be anywhere similar to Pain and Gain, maybe this film has a chance. Like I said, it really just depends on the creative direction of this film. It can go either way, but I don't know. I think it's worth at least checking out because let's be honest, it's 2024 and there hasn't been that many good movies released in theaters. So I'm desperate for anything at this point.
These movies all can't be Magic Mike. I'm just saying.
Magic Mike 3.
I want this movie to be good simply because it would be a narrative breaker. Can you imagine if this movie was good and people like us, the quote unquote homophobes and right wing bigots, say, look at this and be like, hey, this was a well done movie, and people have to be like, well, that breaks the narrative because we're supposed to hate it because homos. Like,
yeah,
I want it to be good purely for that reason.
Right. If I end up liking this movie, it's simply if I end up liking this movie, I'm saying it right now, my entire review is going to be positive towards the muscle chick.
And you know what else is a sad state, but it's true as well. The muscle chick is objectively more attractive than Kristen Stewart.
Yes, it's like everything. It's perfect. It's like I'm going to center my entire. I'm going to literally watch this movie the same way I watch most. I'm going to pick a character and I'm going to try to center my whole attention on them. Her, I'm going to work on because Kristen Stewart. I've seen Kristen Stewart in a couple of things. Her, I've never really seen before. I don't watch Ant-Man or what have you. So her, I'm actually interested in.
My celebrity crush is Ronda Rousey. I'm all in on muscle women. So
I love muscle women. I love a woman who can bench press me.
Well, I love crime genre movies.
I don't want a woman to kick my ass, but I want a woman that can.
Right.
Yeah, well, I have a Wonder Woman fantasy, so that's all I'm going to say about that. But no, look, I love crime genre movies. Like to me, if you know how to tell a story well, you don't need much money. you can make it really effective. Just because at the end of the day, what are those movies about? They're about survival. You know what I mean? I think that everybody can at least relate to that on some level. So I'm hoping it's good, but we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here for what we're looking for when we go.
My sense is,
Let me be happy.
whatever the
It's
merits
beginning.
of it, I have a feeling that this will probably be better than Argyle. But that's
oh yeah.
So let's we already have a selling point for
So
the advertising.
I'm gonna go see The Godfather Part 2, 50th anniversary on Thursday. Really excited about that. And then I'm watching Drive Away Dolls right after at 5. So.
At
least
at least you're starting off with the good movie.
Yeah.
See, I would rather do the bad movie first and have have a nice dessert after a bad meal.
when you go see The Godfather Part 2, just tell us if they have trigger warnings because of the negative Italian stereotypes.
Yeah, they should
like
have
how he
trigger warnings at the
smacks
beginning.
Kay around.
Yeah.
After she
What's
has
his
this
name?
abortion.
Well,
Ben Minkowitz is just going to show up in the middle of the movie. Go, hey guys, I got to tell you about this something. Wait a minute.
We need that special introduction by Ben Mankiewicz.
I know this is all fun to joke about, but the UK is doing this with James Bond films now. I don't know if you guys have heard that or not, but
they did this with Karate Kid 2.
Yeah,
and this was on BBC America, or it might have been BBC America, where they had a trigger warning about about Karate Kid Part 2. Sato, I guess, was not as bad a man as we thought he was.
Well, he doesn't run Dynatox Industries, and it's perfect. Like number 3.
CJ, you got anything to say about this before we wrap things up here?
No.
Fair enough. That was the right answer.
I'm not gonna go watch this, so I'll let you guys tell me what to think about it.
Well, I know that CS loved Spencer, and we're not talking Bakuli. We're talking Spencer the movie.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Princess Diana, this actress did a much better job of doing Princess Diana than Kirsten Stewart did.
Well, she's a more talented actress.
And she is blonde, like naturally blonde.
She's 6'3" too. So
I was about to say, and she's 60, and I was about to be like, yeah, it checks out.
Look, she was the only one of the few positives in the Great Gatsby, the Leonardo DiCaprio version.
You didn't like that movie? I actually really enjoyed it.
I liked the razzle dazzle of it, but there was nothing there. No version has ever captured.
Just like Gatsby,
just like Gatsby himself. Daisy. I would not have pursued her endlessly. I would not have pursued Carey Mulligan endlessly. Well, you have a thing for her, but
that's the tragedy of Gatsby.
Yeah,
well, that movie is the reason I actually got the book.
He goes,
I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Don't waste your life on a mid.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, the actual
I mean, it's more heartbreaking than that, but
first or second
much,
sentence in the book, but okay.
So too long didn't read version. Kristen Stewart is not only a bad actress, but she's also a bad lesbian too. So
yes,
I think a lot of people are tired of that gimmick. Like I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't even care if it looks interesting. It's boring, You bored me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is her career
boring? Absolutely, but sorry, bud.
No, it's just like, is her whole career now just going to do nothing but play lesbians?
Yes.
Is this one of those only gay actors can play gay roles type situations, or is she?
Right,
I mean, or was the Princess of Wales the last straight character that she will ever play?
Now, is she going to do?
There's people on X that believe she was secretly lesbian as well. Just so you know.
Now, are they going to do? Are they going to do a remake of Boys Don't Cry starring her and Elliot Page?
I was actually thinking of Elliot Page because I was thinking like these are two women that who have done roles where they've been like pro-life in the roles, and I feel like Hollywood just has never forgiven them, so they have to do some kind of lifetime term for some penance. And this seems like appropriate. So
these women need Jesus. So let's go ahead and end the show and let you guys promote everything that you guys got coming up here. We're gonna start with this man over here, the man in the shadows, Mr. Eddie Brock. What do you got coming up, my friend?
What's up, y'all? What do I have to promote? I've been so out of the loop for everything.
Are you gonna do more WWE streams with Jacob?
I got to do
No.
more WWE streams. Oh yeah, because we went pretty extreme on those WWE streams. I'm gonna tell you.
It's not even that. Like the stream was very entertaining, but it's like then I have to commit to actually watching WWE, and it's just like
nobody wants to do. Yeah, nobody wants to do that. Nobody
Like
wants to
I'm still debating whether it's even worth it to follow WrestleMania this year or not. So no, we'll figure it out.
To be quite honest, it's much easier to watch grass grow than watch Raw nowadays. So, let's see. I guess y'all can catch me on fandompulse.com. I just released a column on the Dead Station. Dead PlayStation 5 is no longer going to be promoting any more exclusive games for the rest of their thing. So they're pulling the plug on the PlayStation 5, Sony, and everyone's pretty upset about it, or pretty unsurprised about it, whichever way you want to go. Let's see. That's pretty much it. Yeah, check out fandompulse.com for all your geeky news.
Or not.
I'm not going to do a tap dance. I'm not going to do a shale. I'm not going to do a woo. I'm not going to dance. I'm not going to do everything. I'm just going to say fandompulse.com.
All right. Now we like you, Eddie. Otherwise, we throw rocks at you. Rick, what do you got coming up, man?
Yeah, just more reviews and waiting for the Academy Awards to drink my way through America Ferrera's acceptance speech. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, we're gonna have to do the Oscar stream later on too.
I am looking forward to Dune Part 2.
Do you know what's even worse? We might even have to do like WrestleMania and the Oscars back to back. It's like, you know how brutal that's gonna be.
I will do WrestleMania. I will do WrestleMania if Rick will do karaoke and during the Oscars and do I Am Ken.
Well, I'll need to know the
I'll go to
lyrics.
bed early that day.
I will. I need to.
We'll send you the lyrics. It's not that difficult.
I'm just Ken. Where she loves, she sees a friend. I'm not
get Cider to do a duet with you.
We gotta get Cider on that Oscar stream. That way you get to do it.
Yeah, okay.
Because he's enough too.
I'll come into it.
Yeah, he'll move the lips, and I'll be the singing because
I'll do the doo-wop.
So someone who's slowly dying inside is Rob Motto. Like, what do you got coming up?
Yeah, please never sing. In fact, if you're going to do anything like that on the Oscars live stream, I probably won't join. I'm kidding. It's one of these things. I'll probably talk about it on my podcast tomorrow. I love the Oscars. And this year, there's actual nominees to root for. So it's every 4 years I get that opportunity. But I'm going to do episode 4 of You're Not Terribly Important to Me podcast tomorrow. I have a few topics that I'm going to get into, including the kind of really stupid Starship Troopers discourse, where I'm just going to lay it out for everybody what it's about, and we can move on because people are really stupid projecting their own political nonsense onto a movie that's fairly simple. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a few other things.
Book? I will listen if you talk about the book.
No, I'm talking about the movie. I do want to read the book though. And I know enough about the book that it's not what people said it was. Anyway, we'll get into it. Well, I'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow on the podcast. I've got a few reviews to do. Like I said, Thursday I'm going to be seeing The Godfather Part 2 and Drive Away Dolls, which I'll be reviewing and talking with Jacob a little bit before we watch. I don't remember what we picked. So,
World.
Yep. Okay, cool. So yeah, that'll all be on my Twitter. So just check that out.
Do you think that there's going to be a big, Rob? Do you think there's going to be a big to do about the slap from Chris Rock and everything? You can get a sequel?
No.
No more pimp slapping. They got security now, apparently. So people with guns. CJ, what do you got coming up? That's great. Leon, what do you got coming up?
Buy my books, everybody.
Sorry, say that again, CJ.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's always just buy my books. So there you go.
Well, no, thank you again for having me on. This was awesome. I really appreciate it. You can check me out on my channel, Words of Paradise, where I do nerdy news videos with a political twist to them just about every day. Almost every day, you're going to get a new video. And I'm not on the left nor the right. I consider myself a genuine centrist. Sometimes I agree with one side, sometimes the other. But at the end of the day, I would like politics out of pop culture on both sides. I think that's going to be the right way to go going forward. Or if you're going to do it right. And I don't think that we currently have, the mental fortitude to do that in Hollywood or really in any other medium as it is. So if that's something you're interested in, check out the channel Words of Paradise. I also do a live stream every Monday called The Countercast. It's a panel show where I invite on various individuals. So if you're an anime fan, this past Monday we had on Chuck Huber, who was the voice of Android 17 and Dragon Ball Z, Hiei and Yu Yu Hakusho, Shao Tucker and Fullmetal Alchemist. The list goes on. So if you want to see us talk about the localization industry for about half an hour and then wax hard on the conspiracy theory side of things for another hour and a half, not my usual bag, but man, was it fun. Then yeah, check out this last Monday's episode with Chuck Huber. It was a blast. And again, thank you for having me on. This has been awesome.
All right.
Yep, I've been on Leon's stream. I like his channel too, so it's got my recommendation.
Awesome. You've been out multiple times. You're a doll.
Called you a doll.
What
do we got coming up?
I'll take it.
What do we have coming up here? Last night, if you guys didn't catch the Bible Lens on last night's show, me and Spencer had a pretty in-depth hour and 50-minute conversation last night on the show. And to say, we came to a lot of understanding on a lot of things. If you haven't seen that show last night, go back and check it out. It's actually really good. We'll be doing a part 2 of that one on Monday night because Shax was supposed to be on this coming Monday night, but then he screwed up and double booked himself. So he's actually going to be coming on in 2 weeks. So then me and Spencer are going to follow up on next Monday night on the Bible Lens podcast. So that's Monday night. This Friday night, me, Rob, and Rick are going to be back. We're going to be talking about Drive-By Dolls on Friday night, and then we're also going to be watching the film Ghost World with Scarlett Johansson, Steve Buscemi, Thora Birch, that's her name. She's been a while.
Thora Birch.
Yeah,
oh my God, another waifu of mine. That was like my teenage waifu. This is a great fucking time.
What a time to be alive,
man.
And then, so that's everything that we got coming up there. I know we're going to be doing a separate channel for the Bible Lens soon. I'm obviously going to be telling you about Friday in the Park, which is our new show that we're going to be doing on Friday nights in March, late March, so it's still a while away. So we're just going to be shuffling some things around. The bar room isn't going to change. We're going to be back here on Tuesday nights. We'll be back here next Tuesday for episode 88 of the Bar Room Podcast. And once again, give a shout out to the Writing Raven and Masters of TDS for being on our show here tonight. Obviously, Orange Hat, who was here a little bit while ago as well. So go follow all those guys and follow the work that they're doing. They're doing some good work too. So for everyone who joined us in the chat tonight, I know Neozoic just rolled out of here just a little bit ago, but shout out to Cassie, obviously, Eddie, Brock, Rob, Rick, Vanya, Spencer, Josh, Dobafett, Top Dog, Kate, Dante, DK, Alex vs. Evil, Duke Nukem, Taven, Brandon, Bojan, Rooftop Korean, all the good folks who joined us here tonight. We're time to sign off now, so we're going ahead and hit the outro, get on out of here. So adios, good night. We'll see you, if not Friday, Monday. If not, we'll see you next week. Wave to the crowd. We're out of here.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
It's over. Go home.
Get the hell out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Okay. Get out! Get out!
You get the hell out! Never mind who you thought I was. I'm Rick James, bitch.